understand you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From Daytona International Speedway, the Stacy Strong Cup Series is ready to start the 2024 campaign at the World Center of Racing. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Daytona Beach, where these drivers have been toiling in the warm Florida weather to tune their Cup Series cars to perfection for another year of Sunday night NASCAR. It's been just 105 days since the end of the 2023 season when we saw Jacob Schneider hoist the championship trophy in the desert sands of Phoenix. Tonight, we look at the dawning of a new season just a stone's throw away from the sands where our sport began here in the Sunshine State. Who will survive the mayhem? Who will be the Duke of the Draft? And who will avoid the big one to celebrate in Victory Lane and capture the flag in NASCAR Super Bowl? Let's find out together as we open the 2024 season of the Stacy Strong Cup Series. I'm Dave Riegel, here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth alongside my partner in crime, Mr. Alan Burgan, and we'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, it has been a long off-season. Those 105 days just could not have been, any faster to get through to this point as we look at this point to a new season. And of course, here tonight, as after qualifying and the duels and everything else we've done to get to this point, we're finally here. We finally arrived at the beginning. Of course, in the real world of NASCAR, the race, of course, getting rained out today, and of course the Xfinity Series being rained out yesterday, kind of causing a little bit of a hiccup. So as we get ready to rock and roll tonight, we will be the only NASCAR action in Daytona, whether it's in real life or here. So we're excited to have that going on. In fact, let's take a look now at our starting grid as it has been set up, of course, by qualifying and the duels right here. As we're going to take a look here at row number 1, our pole sitter tonight, going to be Robert W. Anderson. He'll be joined on the front row by Sean Rogers in the 44. Tanner Marty and Chris Davis going to start in row number 2, while Dalton Mobley and Mike McConville out of Cape May, New Jersey, start in row 3. Row 4 going to feature Ryan Samuelson and Mike Witt, while Rich Jett and Randall Watkins out of Miami Beach, Florida, driving the number 27 Miami Fire and Rescue Ford Mustang, going to be starting in row number 5. Row 6 going to be Skip Gandy, and of course our title sponsor Brian Tarnowski driving the number 28 Stacy Strong Chevrolet Camaro. Eric Papineau and Ken Ron out of Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, going to be in row number 7, while Fairview, Tennessee's very own Chris Claud and Richard Pruitt going to start in row number 8. Row 9 going to be Sean Kelly and Nolan Hodgson. Timothy Cook and Mark Johnson going to be in row 10. Kavaja Holt and Alex Brinson in the 19 going to start back in row 11. Kevin Zosiak and Steve Herring going to be in row 12, while Ricky Williams and Channing Ballou going to start in row 13. Row 14 going to be driver of the number 8, Mr. Alexander Gangler, alongside Matt DiCiani. Derek Heitman and Seba Cornez going to be in row 15, while Ron Fitting, Chad Sanner, Hank Caston, and Matthew Gaskins going to be in row 16 and 17. Row 18 going to be Patrick Gitter, while Matt Metler, our former teammate here at Sim Racing Media, going to start in the Max Load number 64 Toyota Camry, sorry. Tyler Sexton and Jeff Carson out of Cross Junction, Virginia, going to start back in row number 19, while Randy Belk and Nick Hansen start in row 20. Joe Stafford out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, going to be starting in row number 21, and starting shotgun on the field, Anthony Savagiani in his machine. So it is going to be a busy night here. Of course, as you can tell, the graphics a little bit different, considering the fact that we didn't have. That's the second time that tried to happen. Considering the fact that we didn't have qualifying this evening, as it is the Daytona 500. Bobby Anderson starting here atop the field as everybody's sliding into their cars. As the iRacing.com pace car going to lead us off of pit road as we get ready to start the 2024 season. Sean Rogers going to be joining him out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. There's Tanner Marty and Chris Davis out of Koshkonong, Missouri. That's going to be a tough one for us this year. And we see that the iRacing.com pace car lights are out, which means that we'll be going green flag racing, as this 2.5-mile super speedway in Florida is that big that it gives everybody just enough time. We see Skip Gandy out of Stafford, Virginia. And of course, we do have Matt Stafford in the field, or Joe Stafford, I'm sorry, as Joe is not going to be taking the start. It looks like he's going to start from pit road. As our drivers are getting ready to rock and roll, we see Cape May, New Jersey's very own Mike McConville. He's on his way from Cape May down here to Florida. So everything finally set. We've been waiting for this moment all off-season long, and I'll tell you what, I could not be prouder to be sitting here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, named for the man, the myth, the legend, who previously sat here at this microphone, who we lost last season, and I am honored to be the one who takes care of this particular league, because this is home for me. And Tony knew that, and he took care of us very well. So we will start every race this season the same way that he did. As Bobby Anderson sitting behind the iRacing.com pace car. And as Tony would say, there's only one thing left to do. It's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some popcorn, call a friend, and settle in. Race fans, it's showtime! Sean Rogers getting an early push here from the 74 of Chris Davis. Davis trying to see if he can get that top line in order. As all of a sudden we've had one driver jump to the pits, we stay green flag racing. Bobby Anderson here on the low side in the number 18 Chevrolet Camaro. Of course, that paint scheme going to be a little hard to deal with, considering we're used to seeing that on a Toyota. Being pushed along by the 29 of Tanner Marty. He drifts up toward Mike McConville in the one spot. Now Mike McConville leads that top line as Sean Rogers has been dumped off to the front of the low line. Of course, what we're going to see a lot of tonight is these drivers, as we come across the start-finish line, Sean Rogers going to get credit for the first lap here of the 2024 season. We're going to see a lot of these drivers here on the high side pushing one another up. There's a lot of speed up here in the high line. And as they push each other up to the front of that low side draft, we're going to see whether or not you're going to be a good drafting partner and wait until that guy who pushed you into that position comes along with you, if you're going to bring him with you, or are you just going to dump yourself off and get down and dirty. As we see Randall Watkins here in the 27, hovering right behind Dalton Mobley, as that front pack has now gone single file all the way back here to the double natural of Rich Jett. Rich Jett here in the Great Dane. Nope, now it just got a little bit longer. Ken Ron out of Dillsburg in the Isaacs number 33 Chevrolet. Going to be the rear of that as he is grabbing more and more drivers to go single file. This will set us up for some exciting racing as we get further on here in the night, because, you know, now these drivers are going to have to basically, you know, fight one another for each position. As we get rocking and rolling, let's take a look here from the hood of Ken Ron out of Dillsburg. Of course, here on the roof cam, we can see as he rolls out of turn 4, he's suddenly going to start closing in here on Skip Gandy. We can watch that dashboard at 198 miles per hour coming through the tri-oval. Looks like he's burping the throttle to leave himself a little bit of space. That gives him just enough reaction time to make sure that if something bad should happen in front of him, that he's not going to have an issue trying to react. As we go down the backstretch, though, this is where it's going to get interesting, as he's going to get a good bump here from Eric Papineau, nearly 200 miles an hour going into the turn at turn 3. And holding it all together is Ken Ron. We're going to go back a little bit further here to Brian Tarnowski, as the Tarn, now part of that single file parade. He's now leading Ricky Williams, who's coming along the low side. Keeping an eye, though, on Richard Pruitt in the 24, because Richard is going to have to hang on tight to that high side, as basically all of these drivers tonight, all 40 drivers that took the green flag, are working on getting down to that low line. And it's a pretty safe bet to be down there in the low line right now. However, you see that snake-looking formation that they have going on. You know, as we go through the night, we're going to see many of those drivers. Somebody's going to flinch a little bit too hard. The car's going to get loose, and they're going to kick themselves out of the way. And that's what we don't want to see as they come back through the tri-oval. We can see just about everybody single file through about the first 30 cars. Want to welcome everyone into the YouTube.com live chat as we are on opening night here, the Daytona 500 2024 edition of the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series, brought to you by Stacy Strong. We want to thank our sponsors, of course, for riding along with us the last couple of years. Of course, Stacy Strong speaks of Brian Tarnowski's late wife, Stacy Tarnowski, who is a weekly viewer here on Sim Racing Media, and we tragically lost her to cancer 2 years ago, and just about 2 years ago now. And Brian has rallied, and he has really thrown himself into iRacing and applied himself at this trade, and he has just increased in skill the last couple of years, and it's incredible that he's out here carrying the flag for Stacy. As we take a look here in the youtube.com live chat, Dcash videos, that's Alexander Gangler giving the old shout out. Bandit Racing giving us a shout out here. Grease Monkey Motorsports from Pistons, Rods, and Dad Bods. Carla Martin cheering on Grease Monkey. Callie H is here for Nolan in the number 12. We'll get to him too. Ron Fitting also being cheered on here by Carla Martin. Jay Prieto cheering on Sean Kelly. Amanda Price cheering on Sean Rogers. So if you haven't done so yet, make sure that you turn on those bell notifications. Subscribe to Sim Racing Media, as we'll be with you every race this season here in the SNN Cup Series. And I am proud once again to be the voice of the SNN Cup Series, as this, of course, was my iRacing home behind the wheel before I found my calling here behind the microphone. A second line starting to form, a second pack starting to form now. As we can see, the 36 of Kevin Sosiak, he's leading Mark Johnston here in the 80, and they've got Kavaja Holt just behind him. And I'll tell you what, Kavaja is one of the greatest. Looks like he's already got some damage there on the 00. But Kavaja Holt is one of the greatest bump drafters I've ever raced with. And he has Brian Tarnowski right behind him. And Brian, I know, is excited coming into tonight's race, as he and I got a chance to talk a couple of times here before tonight. And, those are really competitive drivers. And God forbid something should happen, up here in that lead pack that now extends itself all the way back to Chief Cook and Bottle Washer of the SNN Cup Series, Mr. Chris Claud, here in the number 10 Monster Energy Toyota Camry. He a little bit of a paint scheme change for the season, as Chris has now gone with Monster Energy instead of Dasani water. I'm going to have to rib him a little bit, as Monster is a Pepsi product and Dasani, of course, a Coca-Cola product. He's going to have to pick a side, is what he's going to have to do this season. But Chris pours himself into this league and takes great care of making sure that everything goes just right week in and week out. And right now he's got about 0.4 of a second back to Zosiak, and that's a pretty comfortable distance even here, as he's drafting just behind the 17 of Eric Papineau. Papineau, of course, a newcomer here to the series last season, and we can see Chris is already wound up. I mean, he's one of these drivers that we usually see taking his time, but he's holding on right now to 14th position in this battle here for 13th, and it's not much of a battle at the moment. 200 miles per hour, all but, there it is, coming through the tri-oval. He's going to go to 201 before he hits turn number 2. This racetrack has so much history locked up in it that, it's exciting to see year after year. Of course, we all know the stories of Richard Petty and Lee Petty and Dale Earnhardt and DW. But these drivers here tonight make a name for themselves in the record books at Daytona International Speedway. As I want to welcome alongside here in the broadcast booth, Alan Burgan. Hey, Alan, welcome to the 2024 season. We're working lap number 11, and this has been an exciting race so far, as just about 15 cars are now in that lead pack.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me tonight. And a little stuff to come up on the way here, but nonetheless, I'm glad to be here in Daytona.
Yeah, and we are glad to have you as well. And here's the thing: this racetrack is one of the few that everybody pulls all the stops out tonight for.
Yeah, so the NFL has their Super Bowl, right? And then the MLB has the World Series, but auto racing, they kind of do it backwards. They like to be different and have their Super Bowl in the beginning of the season.
Well, if you can look at it this way, this is the first playoff race, because really, whoever brings home the checkered flag tonight and captures that Harley J. Earl trophy is going to come home with that ticket punched to our chase later on in the season, as the NASCAR playoffs going to start down there in much later in the year. Of course, it's very early to be talking playoffs, but at the same time, we forget that, you know, one of those drivers that makes the playoffs is going to be the winner here tonight.
Yeah, no kidding here. We're on lap number 12, 13. Now we're going to 14. I'm a lap down.
Well, nothing like being a lap down and you haven't even gotten in the car. As we see Sean Rogers being pushed along by Chris Davis and Bobby Anderson. Like I had mentioned a moment ago, you know, these drivers all but separating now, as we see Chris Claud back here starting to bring along that second group. That's going to include Tarnowski in the 28, and then there's just a little bit more gap, but almost the entire field single file. And, you know, just two drivers off pace right now, three drivers off pace as they have formed their own little three-car bandolero, if you will.
Yeah, 3 cars.
That's Matt Gaskins and the 38 of Hank Kaskin. Just behind them in the Milwaukee Tools number 8 is Alexander Gangler. And believe me, at this stage in the race, Alan, you don't want to be up here in I mean, you know, where Skip Gandy is right here in the middle of this thing, and Ryan Samuelson, you're in a hornet's nest. One mistake and half the field gets taken out. You know, there are no fast repairs here in SNN. And, of course, the other thing to keep in mind is that we do have stage racing. Of course, Stage 1 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 65. Then Stage 2 going to end at the end of 130 with 8 sets of tires. So that sets the pit window up about 35 to 40 laps. And already looks like Matt Mettler being put a lap down. I guess he didn't get much of a load out of his Toyota tonight, as he is driving the max load number 64.
Dave, we are 13 laps in. You've already rendered me speechless. That didn't take me. We're 17 laps.
I'm here to entertain and inform. "16 laps in the books, about halfway through the fuel run here at Daytona, here in the 2024 Daytona 500. Of course, you know, we are brought to you by the Stacy Strong Foundation. Of course, Tricia's Hope, the umbrella organization over top of that. And Tricia's Hope believes in healthcare and support for all persons. Their mission is to provide emotional and financial support to cancer patients in treatment. Tricia's Hope holds a special place in our hearts here at Sim Racing Media and the Sunday Night NASCAR family of racing series, as they have been part of the supporting framework around Brian Tarnowski and his late wife, Stacy, for whom this league is named. They have been with Brian and Stacy throughout their journey and now beyond. And to support Tricia's Hope, please visit triciashope.com/give-help today, because tomorrow might not be soon enough. And, of course, welcoming in our friends from around the world and shouting out to a couple of pit crew members down there in Florida as they're on recovery day after a rough night last night. And and they shall remain nameless. But, of course, a good friend of mine down there who we've seen here on our airwaves, Mike McConville out of Cape May, New Jersey, running right now in 5th position. He's already gained a spot tonight. And you don't see too many big movers out of this field. Right now, largest movers, well, Nick Hansen started in 40th and now runs in 30th. And he's back here just kind of hanging around with that, whoa, what is, all of a sudden they've decided to step out and go around Matt Mettler, as Mettler going to go the full lap down. He would be Matt Mettler would be the lucky dog should the caution come out, but we don't really want that, as we've already ticked off 19 and now about to be 20 laps. So about a tenth of the way through the race. That's doing pretty darn good as far as I'm concerned.
I can't disagree with you on that one, Dave. As you know, like you said, we're 20 laps into this race, and well, let's put it this way: it's been one whale of a show so far. As you know, I'm hoping for a good green flag run right here as we're watching the Sean Rogers there in the 44 car here at the front of the field. And I tell you what, Dave, this track, I've got the pleasure of calling a show here earlier on in the day, and if it's anything like tonight, it's shaping out to be, we're in for a treat.
Taking a look here in our youtube.com live chat, Bites, Ball, and Banter, saying awesome broadcast from Michigan. So thank you, and a tip of the cap to you, as we appreciate, of course, all of you viewers tuning in from around the world. Sean Rogers still our race leader here. Chris Davis running in P2. He's up 2 positions from where he had started back in 4th. Now, Sean Rogers, of course, started outside on the pole, so he's actually up a position. So not a whole lot of movement through about the first 14 cars. Chris Claud up 1 spot, running in 14th position. Biggest mover in the top 14 belongs to Randall Watkins, who's up 3 from where he had started back in 10th. We see Kevin Zasiak here up 8 from where he had begun this piece. And I'll tell you what, Zasiak out of Greenwich, Connecticut, has really worked himself into a nice little slot here. And as we take a look here from the gyro cam, he's not really fighting this car very hard. Of course, the one thing that he's going to have to fight is the incredible banking here, 29 degrees at Daytona International Speedway. And something that, I think goes understated is how loose these cars can get in the draft. And now in the Cup Series, of course, there's no tape for the front end. So, you're not getting that same reaction that you could with an Xfinity car or a truck here on the banks of Daytona. But you can see from just inside the car how hard that car turns, and of course, when it rolls through the turn, what it does.
So Dave, imagine that that you stop on the corner, right? And you're literally you're climbing a wall. And so it's very hard to climb that wall, so to speak, right here, as we are on board right now with Kevin Zosiak there, and you can tell just how.
Taking a look here at Mike McConville in the 1 machine. McConville, there suddenly starts to be a little bit of shuffling here at the front of this pack. Dalton Mobley going to the high side. He's trying to join Tanner Marty in the 29. All of a sudden, there's this weird little idea that these 3 drivers are going to start to try to draft together, as Tanner Marty out of Duval, Washington, the only driver left on the high side. He's oh, you know what? That bears watching again, because I'll tell you what, that was dangerous with a capital dangerous, as my friend Eric would say to me.
Dangerous with a capital dangerous.
Here it comes, as we're going to watch him slide right in behind Randall Watkins. I mean, couldn't have made that any tighter if he tried.
No. Didn't have.
So after considering moving up, everybody tucking themselves back in, as everybody already starting to talk about pit strategy here.
Yeah, so these guys are going to start making deals, Dave. We're 24 laps in, and these who are you going to come with? Who's going to be your partner? Are you going to come down pit road as a manufacturer? Or are you going to come down pit road as teammates? I mean, that's the thing is, what are you going to come down pit road?
Well, and to your point, we're going to take a peek here at the looks like some connection issues there. We're going to take a peek here at the manufacturers. Usually this league very Chevy heavy, especially in the under series. But we see a nice little mix of Fords in here and Toyotas, but still Chevrolets being the majority of what we're going to see out here on the racetrack. Of course, the gap times between 1st and 10th is only 1.2 seconds. I mean, the speeds that they're running right now, the manufacturer thing really hasn't come into play. As we see Chris Davis coming in pit road, we'll see what's going on and what might have brought him in here. As that's interesting. You have to understand, folks, our computers are trying to handle, 42 cars out on, 40 cars out on track, as Matt Metler has just fallen completely off the pace. Timothy Cook now our, what would be our lucky dog, running in 39th. But already discussion on race radio, Alan, about when to come down and when to pull that trigger.
Yeah, it's hard to say, we don't, I think we have it totaled up about 30 to 35 laps of the fuel load. So, that being said, I would suspect these guys are going to come down fairly soon, rather not than later. But they don't really want to push it too far.
A name that we're going to hear many, many times over the season, driving the double natural, Rich Jett out of Schwenksville, Pennsylvania. This guy right now running in 15th, down 6 from where he had started. So it's almost like he thought to himself, I'm going to slide back here in the field and tuck myself in and maybe take a little bit of a racing nap, if you will, as the Godzilla machine running right now in 15th position. We're going to move elsewhere here on the track. Take a look at Dalton Mobley in the Drive to End Hunger number 2 out of Cooper, Texas. He's got that number 2 machine cranked up right now and literally just barely behind Tanner Marty from Duvall, Washington.
Yeah, Tanner, as these guys are running down the back straightaway there in that number 2 car, and we're looking at Mark Johnston, I believe, in the number 80 car. But nonetheless, he's running 16th position. And you know what, Dave, as someone that's run a race, this type of race, this length before, I'm one of those guys that would tend to ride in the back for a little bit until about that, halfway point, three-quarters, halfway point, 2/3 race, right? And then I'd start to move up. As you see, if you go a little bit further back in the field, you're going to see a wider, a second group developing, as you're going to start to see more distinct groups.
And right you are. I mean, here we are at lap number 30, so the pit window now officially open, as drivers going to have to decide who's coming with who and who's going where. As right now, Sean Rogers, being the fuel pig, we have to imagine that since he's been out here all 30 laps at the lead, he's probably used the most fuel. We'll talk about that getting into this as he takes a little love bump from Bobby Anderson as they draft themselves down the backstretch. Probably not really that necessary, but if you're going to keep your speed up, you might as well do it the right way. Here on lap number 30, about halfway through, just shy of halfway through stage number 1. I want to welcome everybody to the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. I'm Dave Riegel, and the other voice you happen to hear is the sultry tones of Mr. Alan Burgan. And, Alan and I have only just recently started working together, and it feels like we've been doing this for a long time. As we take a look here, Derek Heitman being the first to blink, as here on lap number 31 brings the 76 pit side. Everybody going to get 4 tires and fuel for sure, as they've got 8 tire sets to work with. Wow. Overshooting his pit box is Patrick Gitter, and we'll take a look at that replay right here, because I'd say he definitely booted that one. As we take a look, looks like he just straight up missed it. Has to throw it in reverse here on pit road. I'd say that that's probably a dangerous move, but as long as nobody's around you and nobody got hurt, I guess you're okay. As Gaskins and Caston come off of pit road, Sean Rogers still leading this piece here as we march our way forward on lap number 32, now officially halfway through stage 1. Bobby Anderson running in second, Mike McConville in third. Alan, what are you thinking, as a driver and the caution coming out? Let's see what just pulled this up.
It's
going to be Hank Caston bringing out the caution. Here it is. Caston coming off of pit road as the draft goes by. He gets caught. Oh. That's upsetting. As a driver, that's upsetting. We're going to take another look here from just outside. And the draft comes past, and just as it looks like, oof, oh, he got Tarnowski. Let's take a look here from Tarnowski's point of view, because that wasn't very fun. He just gets a little bit of a tap from Caston, but he's definitely going to come down pit road and get some repair done.
Yeah, he's going to have to. But you were asking about the pit road situation here, and I'm going to be completely transparent. You don't want to be caught on pit road when one of these cautions come out. So the only real beneficiary there was the guys that got on and got off pit road in a hurry. But nonetheless, these guys are going to be taking a 4-tire stop, get some go fast. We're about a little over halfway in the stage.
Yeah, that's a rough one there for Caston. And the thing is, he's out there on cold tires. And it looks like Sean Rogers and everybody else going to come down pit road as we are right there in the window. So 4 tires and go fast. Pretty much the entire field going to be on an even playing field once again, as nobody getting a chance to stay out longer, as we are under caution number 1 here at Daytona International Speedway.
Yeah, no, right you are, Dave. No one really.
I just saw the 44 and the 18 take left sides only.
And you know what? That's the funny thing too, is that you mentioned that, is you might see some different pit strategies like that.
We're just going to take a quick peek here. Now watch the 44 come in. We're going to watch just the left side go up. This is something we don't often see, but that'll keep the car tight. You change those right sides and it loosens up the car something fierce, but I guess he's planning on left sides only this stop. So as we rack them, stack them, and get ready to do this all over again, looks like Mike McConville going to lead us back to green with Sean Rogers on the outside this time. Bobby Anderson, Randall Watkins, Tanner Marty, Michael Witt, Ryan Samuelson, Skip Gandy, Eric Papineau, and Dalton Mobley going to be your top 10. Now, I want to quick pull him in here because he's got to answer for this one, as we're going to get a hold of Matt Metler. Hey, Matt, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
Loud and clear, brother.
Well, first of all, looks like perhaps you didn't take your medication, that your car is so lovely. God, I hate you. Looks like you didn't take your max load of fuel here, or at least tires, as we got underway tonight. Talk about why your car is off pace so bad.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Max Science for being on board with us tonight here for our possibly 1 or 2 starts we're going to make at SNN this season. Check up in the back and versus putting the guy in front of me either into the bottom line or spinning him out. I put my car in the wall to strip off speed. So I basically sacrificed my car.
Look at you, ever the martyr. So talk about the race conditions out there. Is everything kind of rough right now, or is everybody playing nice?
Everyone's playing perfect right now. You can tell there's a long way to go, a lot of veteran presence in the field. Everyone's just doing what they need to do, managing their equipment. But you and I both know that'll change as this race progresses.
Yeah, you're just over halfway through stage 1, and the caution couldn't have come out at a better time, as you were just getting into that fuel window, and, of course, the pit window. So, you know, good luck the rest of the way, and I'm sure that we're going to be chatting here in the max load number 64.
Thanks, Dave. Have a good race up there in the booth, man.
Don't I always? Of course I do.
We always do.
So we're going to get Matt back up here into his chat. Of course, I appreciate the time. I sent him too far. I sent him to Jack Dow, not Joe Gibbs. Hold up. It's fine. Jack Dow's all alone up there anyway. But looks like as we get ready to rock and roll again, Mike McConville going to have control of the field. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out, which means that we'll be going back green flag racing this time, Alan.
Yes, 2x2 behind the iRacing.com pace car. Mike McConville on the inside. John Rogers on the outside, 2 Chevrolets. And then you got 2 Fords right behind him, and then 2 more Chevrolet. And the next 6 are Chevrolets as we get ready to come down the back straightaway. This super stretch. Actually, we're coming down to the front stretch. My bad. Bad track awareness right now. Nonetheless, iRacing.com pace car makes the left turn onto pit road. And Dave.
Not only do you have no idea where we are in the track, but you have no idea who's sitting alongside.
Mike Conville brings it down to green. We are back racing here at Daytona on lap number 35. Let's go get after it, boys, as we are 2x2 down the short stretch into turn number 1. And Mike McConville is looking for sponsorship as he has advertised here. Number 18 car, Bobby Anderson, right there in that M&M sponsored Ford. It's been a long time since we've seen a Ford sponsored M&M. John Rogers taking up the inside line, taking up the outside line with no help at all. But we got a 3-car breakaway happening right now with Tanner Marty and Bobby Anderson and Mike McConville.
Yeah, McConville going to lead this restart, but Sean Rogers in the 44, he's got control of that high side. He's got Dalton Mobley pushing him. We're going to see, and there he is, sliding right in between Michael Witt. Wow, that was dangerous, if I do say so myself, as he basically parallel parked at 200 miles per hour. Now, we see Dalton Mobley left all alone up here with nothing but what looks like Kevin Zasiak pushing him along down the backstretch. Here in our YouTube.com live chat, as it's going to be story time, it's from Bites, Ball, and Banter. Would love to hear how you got started broadcasting. I'm assuming maybe me, but could be you. Never know. But long story short, a couple of years ago, I was racing right here in this league, and we had talked about being able to broadcast the Xfinity Series, and at the time, the commissioner of the Xfinity Series was none other than my Jedi Master, Bob Nestor, who deserves all of the credit for getting me into iRacing in the first place, and literally kicking and screaming until I realized that this is my drug, and that's fine. But so Bob says to me, why don't you give this a try? So I start watching a couple of broadcasts from other networks and tried to learn how they do what they do, as Dalton Mobley still controlling the high line, now getting a really strong push from the 36 of Kevin Zasiak. Zasiak coming offline out of turn 4. I'm sorry, out of turn 2 there. Now it's my turn. Nope, that was 4 anyway. And now bringing along the 10 car of Chris Claud. But so anyway, so they talked me into doing the Xfinity Series, and I gave it a try, and it seemed pretty good. And next thing you know, Sim Racing Media had a little ad out on Facebook that they were looking for people, and Bob pushed me in that direction because it turns out I'm not that great of a driver. So I gave Sim Racing Media a try, and I have not looked back since. In fact, working here for Sim Racing Media has opened up so many doors, and I've met so many wonderful people, including Tony Trapasso, in whose seat I sit here every Sunday night. And believe me, it is a privilege to sit where he sat. Whoa! As we are all but 3 wide here, mid-pack. Ryan Samuelson in the 81, dodging himself low. I can't see who that was in the middle of that mess, but my God. As it looks like the 17 of Eric Papineau now dropping to the low side, leaving Kavaja Holt at the end of the line here, just behind Mark Johnston in the 80. But anyway, I've met so many incredible people here at Sim Racing Media, and it's opened doors to real-world broadcasting, such as calling high school football games up in Pennsylvania's coal regions, of course doing some remote broadcasting for that radio station as well. And it's just been an incredible journey from start to finish, and I'm glad that I get to continue to share that, because broadcasting in and of itself is something fun, it's something exciting, and I wouldn't give it up for the world. And you know, it's just it's been an incredible trip to get here. And of course, now I look forward to going to Miami every year with our team here from Sim Racing Media, as that's where we have our yearly retreat. And, getting to hang out with people like John and, of course, Frank Marchese coming up in April. So it's such a great group here at Sim Racing Media.
All right. As we're watching Tanner Marty here in the lead and command of this race, and if I can afford the story time, I'll actually answer his question also how I got started here. So, Dave, as we're watching the one car here of Mike McConnell, so my journey was a little bit different than yours. So there was one night where about 2 years ago, I wasn't 2 years ago, and at any rate, Tanner Marty has an oh wow moment there, as we have the Mike McConville, Bobby Anderson, and Sean Rogers there doing a 3-car breakaway. But Tanner Marty had a oh wow moment there, as he had to make an evasive move and go to the inside there on the racetrack. But nonetheless, here, you guys, they were doing a game review of an NHRE title, and I believe Tony Trapasso, and there's a number of guys in there, and I had the funniest comment on the YouTube chat. So they send me a shirt, I give them my information, send me a shirt. Well, I'm racing part-time in WSRL at the time, and I'm sitting there driving, getting lapped numerous times. I'm thinking, man, how fun would it be to be with these guys? Guys always have a lot of fun when they broadcast their races. And next thing you know, like you, Dave, or Jonathan Leach, put the ad on Facebook, and then I start working with Mike Damani, and now I get the pleasure of working with you 2 nights a week, and haven't looked back since. And that's the state, Dave. It's a lot of us work day jobs, so this is like a hobby for us, and be able to sit here and watch iRacing all night and talk and shoot the wind and everything it's a great hobby to be in. As we are watching the 94 car of Chad Stanner there, he's on that line, and I believe that's the 94 there in our timing and scoring, but it could be a different car number. Sometimes
Things getting a little choppy here connection-wise, and that's just simply because there are so many cars running right now. Of course, some wild stuff. We go 3 wide here. My goodness. That can get awful weird. We'll try to get that straightened out. As we're about 15 laps away from the end of stage 1, we're going to step aside here and pay some bills right here on Sim Racing Media.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone.
Coming back here to Daytona International Speedway, we got to take a quick look and see what just happened with Randall Watkins as he was here, and just got turned around. And of course, he may be experiencing some connection issues of his own. Oh, that hurts my eyes. Of course, connection issues always a big deal here at super speedways. as they're going to race back here to the caution flag. Just second caution of the night on lap number 47, so I don't think we're going to see anybody come down pit road, as we had a pretty good connection early on here with everybody. But, you know, side-by-side racing with 40 cars being drawn is, well, it's kind of rough, so I do have to address that right here off the top. As Ron Fitting is going to keep on moving up. Let's see what Carla's talking about here. Where is good old Ron? Ron's up 3 positions, driving the number 3. Jeff Carson here in the 9. He's up 11 spots. Nick Hansen, our biggest mover of the night now. No, I'm sorry, not the biggest mover of the night, but he's up 22. Chad Sanner, the biggest mover right now, at 28. And I have raced alongside of Sanner many, many times. And let me tell you, this man from Smithfield is a force to be reckoned with, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent in this league, Dave. You know, and that's what you're telling me back at the Clash at Coliseum. You know, I missed out on the duels, but Emily did a fantastic job stepping in for me, as you allowed me to step away from this series and allowed me to go do a charity race with our good buddy Angel Santiago, which ended up raising $1,625 for St. Jude that night. So, you know, I'm excited to see what the season brings.
Mike McConville going to come down pit road. He's going to be joined along with the 5 machine. So he's going to come down and get himself topped off here with about 15 laps to go in stage 1. We want to check in here with the rest of our YouTube.com live chat. Spread Thin Hobbies. Gandy running in 9th now, making moves. Appreciate SRM for having this on YouTube. As always, we're glad to be here and have you with us here on YouTube. Alexis Finley cheering on Tyler Sexton. Grease Monkey being cheered on by Alexis Finley and Ron Fitting and Sean Kelly. Carla Martin cheering on Ron Fitting, Tyler Sexton, Sean Kelly, as all of them are moving up through the field. So thank you all for joining us this evening here on YouTube.com. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so that you get a little notification on your phone every time we go live. That's going to cycle Bobby Anderson up here to the lead. Now, he hasn't been in the lead since the moment the green flag dropped. So he's going to lead Zasiak and Sanner, as Zasiak going to sit on the outside of row number 1 here in the Town and Country Chevrolet Camaro. Let's see if let's see if we can get a hold of old Chris here. Hey, Chris, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
Yeah, I've got you.
Well, you've got the Monster Energy Toyota Camry up here into 10th position, up 5 from where you had started. How are conditions down there on the racetrack? I know that with all of these cars near one another, connection issues become a factor in tonight's race.
Yeah, do you know specifically which car numbers are having most of the connection
They're
issues?
all flashing.
They're all?
Well,
okay,
we had a couple of incidents where they were all flashing, but, you know, I'm looking here, and I want to introduce everybody to the number 10 Monster Energy Toyota Camry. Now, what caused you to leave the Coca-Cola products and come on over here to Pepsi?
It was really a necessity. As it turns out, they changed the body type of the Camry in the off season, and you know, we use a service for the paint since I'm not since I am not good at making paints myself. I use a service, and they did not have a big selection of paints to use, and that was one that I found that I could use across all 3 series that I run. So, and plus my favorite driver, Ty Gibbs, runs Monster Energy, so it's kind of a easier choice.
Well, I expect that we're going to see the Dasani machine tomorrow night right here on Sim Racing Media for the United Reynolds 300.
That would be a negative. I'm just running Monster Energy across the board. Yeah.
Well, let's hope it's the sugar-free, because the real Monster is just enough to drive you into diabetic coma.
I'm sure. I probably need to stay away from it myself.
Well, listen, congratulations on another season here in Sim Racing Media, and, of course, right there on Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series action. We look forward to following you along, and we appreciate, of course, the partnership that we've had. So I'm going to send you back up there as you're getting ready to go back green.
All right. Sounds good, Dave.
That, of course, the voice of Chief Cook and Bottle Washer here in the SNN Cup Series, Chris Claud. And, Alan, you're going to get to know Chris very well over the season. He's a heck of a race car driver. He is Mr. Consistency, as I like to call him, as he will hit every mark the same way every time, whether he's beating you or following you.
Ty Gibbs fan.
Yeah. He listen, Chris is a big fan of Joe Gibbs overall, and I got to be honest with you, as a man of faith, I do appreciate Joe Gibbs and everything that he does at JGR. But as we get ready to go back green flag racing, Bobby Anderson going to have control of the field. The iRacing.com pace car dipping below the double yellow line. Of course, that is the out of bounds line here, and the green flag flies, and we're back underway.
Lap 49, Bobby Anderson at number 18, M&M's Ford Mustang. And in real life, we were used to saying that M&M's number 18 Toyota Camry for a long time. But here in iRacing, you can have any car you want, be any color paint that you want. And Bobby Anderson chose the number 18 car as, as he brings the field down in the outside line. Give the outside line to the number 36 of Kevin Zodiac. And Chris Claud is mounting a run to the outside as he and the number 77 of Rich Jett are trying to get to the back bumper of Kevin Zodiac, coming out of turn number 4 and down the front straightaway as they're 2 by 2.
2 by 2, and if you need an arc, I know a guy. Get it? See what I did there? No, anyway. 2 by 2, they come down the front stretch, crossing the start-finish line on lap number 53 now. 52, correction. As Chris Claud and Rich Jett are trying to form up this top line, and right now Chris being used as the fuel pig. He's probably hoping for a good finish to the end of stage 1, and here's the thing. Chris may not bring home a whole lot of checkered flags, but he manages to get himself into the playoffs just about every year. And he uses situations like this, where he's being pushed along by Rich Jett, running in 8th position right now. He's probably hoping for Kavaja to come along here and give Rich the bump so the three of them can link themselves together and start making some hay. In fact, we're going to see if we can ride along with Rich Jett here in the 77, looking at that rear bumper of Chris Claud. And we see here on the nose now, he's got Claud in 8th position. Another good push down the backstretch with 12 to go now in stage 1. And he may be heading toward the lead. Here it comes. Here comes the bump draft. Boom, boom, boom. I love me some super speedway racing, buddy.
Oh, man, look how close they are. They could almost take the paint right off the back bumper there. That
oh, I love it. Oh,
That's
here
Rich
it comes again.
Jett.
Boom.
Oh.
Boom. Chris is going to go to the lead. Oh,
And imagine-
easy. Oh, hold it straight, Rich.
And, Dave, imagine how hard it is to hold that wheel straight as you get a car bumping you right through the corner.
If Chris and Rich can work this out, I mean, look, Chris is already up into 7th position, just being pushed along. This top line has now formed itself into something of a beauty, because I'll tell you what, I'm looking here, and you can see the way the Jet is pushing that high side. All of a sudden, this race just went from a nice and calm beginning with now 11 laps to the end of stage 1, and Chris Claud and Rich Jett are really working their way toward the front. And if there's anybody that I want behind me, it's Kavaja. Kavaja is one of those drivers that doesn't mind getting a little aggressive here and giving the bump there to Rich Jett. Now
Look at that bump.
Jett into Chris, and now all of a sudden the 18 of Bobby Anderson sees this and he wants to take that momentum away. So either Bobby wants to get himself up to the lead, or he's trying to take that momentum away from the top side. As we come down the back chute, they go side by side. Let's take a look at where Bobby Anderson is. If we can get a good shot there, it is just over top of Mark Johnston. Now Chris suddenly has to become the pusher. Chris getting out of line just a little bit.
Yeah, you got to save that nose. You got to make sure that
That's
water
right.
tip
We've got
doesn't
plenty of
rise.
time left here as everybody getting so close to one another. Chris Claud now being pushed up. Ooh, now that bottom line just got all kinds of momentum. Now
But
Chris
here's
out of the top 10. He just went from 7th to 10th in the blink of an eye.
Here's the thing too. We're coming down to the end of the stage too, Dave. So therefore, and every point's gonna matter as these guys are racing hand over foot, inside outside. We've been figuring out which line's gonna be the best line to go with.
My sister's favorite driver, Ryan Samuelson, here in the 81. He's going to get a nice little push here from the 18 of Bobby Anderson as they come back onto the front stretch. Now they've formed a nice little line here. And they are chasing down the race leader as Samuelson in 6th position. All of a sudden, it's almost like Chris knew that I was watching him, and he is now faded back into 18th. So backing off here early is Chris Claud. Thanks for making me look like a clown. As I really thought Chris was going to go for it. Now he and that whole group have faded back substantially, but he leaves Kavaja Holt up here behind Mike McConville. While Samuelson and Anderson are going to work together here. Oh, what a run!
Samuelson gets the run. He's got that outside working. They're coming like a freight train. Here comes the 18th car as they go by the 34 car. Oh, Chris Davis gives the advantage to the outside line.
Now, that was the question that I wanted answered. Does Samuelson drop down and abandon who just helped him go up here? Of course, whether or not it's Chris Davis here in the 74 or not. But now Samuelson just abandoned Bobby Anderson. And whoa!
Oh, what a bump.
What a hit. If that doesn't wrinkle your nose, I don't know what will. As it looks like who in the world is that?
Dave, I wish we could deliver this league heart monitors and see what their heart rate is right now. But I know mine
That's
is
Channing
absolutely
Ballou.
through the roof.
Channing Ballou in the 5 down laps is now being pushed around. I couldn't figure out who it was because his paint doesn't match properly. But here in the 5 car, it looks like Channing Ballou's got his cornflakes in the bowl as he's getting pushed around to stay ahead of the pack. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Ryan Samuelson being shoved along by Bobby Anderson. Now, the question is, do they stay where they are? Yes, because right now they're using the 88, or in this case, the 5 car of Channing Ballou, basically to hold back that line led by the 74 of Chris Davis. So they're kind of setting themselves up here with about 6 to go to take the green and white checkered flag. But Davis now shoving Ballou down the front stretch. Oh, what a great run.
I mean, what talent, man. As these guys are just absolutely bump drafting. Oh, we got trouble. We got trouble. We have trouble.
We have big trouble and can barely see what's going on. Samuelson just got wrapped up in that. And a lot of the field just got taken out. Oh, God.
There's the big one.
That was a big one. It's only lap 60, and that's horrifying. And, of course, at the same time, there's just mayhem everywhere. I'm trying to see if I can pick. There it is. The 81 getting out of shape. Getting shoved by the 18.
And that's in 18. He was locked on Samuelson's bumper. That's the 18 is Bobby Anderson, I believe. And we are
here it is from the 18th's perspective. He got a shove from McConville, and that's when all kinds of hell and havoc break loose here at Daytona. Now, we may see this end stage number 1, so we're going to have to find out, as just about everybody going to have to come down pit road as everybody gets themselves reset. Now, Sean Rogers and Mike McConville still up here atop the pile. Kevin Zosiak in the 36 running in 3rd position. Ryan Samuelson coming back up to get behind the pace car. So we may see, with 61 laps in the books, we may see either the stage end or a 1-lap shootout to the end of stage 1.
So
in fact, I'm going to quick get a hold of Chris and see what race control is deeming here. So stand by.
Okay.
Hey, Chris, it's Dave. I'm in your race chat here and wanted to know the ruling. Are we ending stage 1, or is this going to be a one-lap shootout to the end?
I don't know if it's going to be. It'll probably be more than a one-lap shootout because the caution won't come out till actually when we pass on lap 66 to end stage in lap 65.
So we should see about 2 laps to the end of stage number 1.
Right. There won't be many laps when we go back green.
Fair enough. Thank you, sir. We will go back down here to the booth and update the fans accordingly as
74 cars.
just letting you know what's going on here. We will have about 2 laps to go in stage 1, so it'll be a 2-lap shootout to the end of the first stage.
Okay, Dave, I have a question. Since I'm new to the league, I'm
I have an
going to ask you a lot of questions. Is there fast repairs in this league?
There are no fast repairs. This is as simulated gets.
So if the 81 car of Ryan Samuelson needs to get repaired, he's got to wait it out.
He's going to wait it out. So right now down on pit road is Derek Heitman, actually coming off of pit road, Derek Heitman, Dalton Mobley, and Rich Jett. Now Ryan Samuelson down on pit road in the 81, as you had mentioned. Michael Witt, Richard Pruitt, Nolan Hodgson in the 12, as Nolan Hodgson was shouted out in our YouTube.com live chat. Spread Thin Hobbies says Gandy got hit hard against the wall. Very unfortunate. Come on, Skip, you've got this. Bismo pointing out that Alan's calling 2 Daytona 500s today. Chris Davis saying, well, that was fun until it wasn't. Let's see if we can get a hold of Chris here in the YouTube in the Discord, if I can find him. There he is. Hey, Chris, it's Dave and Alan up in the broadcast booth. You got us.
Yes, sir.
Take us through that. Now, we see you sitting down here on pit road getting repair. Take us through that wreck from your perspective.
I was just pushing that lap car up through there, getting ready to come to the stage. Had my teammate Sean behind me, trying to just figure out how to make that low line work. And all I seen was the back of the 5 car and then the wall. So I think the outside lane got a bad push and turned him right into my right rear, and that was it for me.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate start to the season, and I'm assuming that you've got a lot of damage that needs to be repaired. The 74 looks pretty ripped up.
Yeah, it's done for today. It's 32 minutes worth of required and then 9 optional. So unfortunately, we're done, but we're gonna root on our teammate Sean Rogers and Jeff Carson, and hopefully they can get it in victory lane.
Well, if you later on as we go deeper here into the season, if you need a good partner, Jeff Carson is one. Let me tell you, as a former teammate of Jeff, he is one of those drivers that will go out there and he will tweak that thing and he'll make his adjustments, and get that thing running right. In fact, it's more frustrating to him when he gets taken out because he works so hard at his craft.
Yes, sir. He's providing some really good setups. So if anybody's looking for a setup, they can look up Carson Speed Shop in Discord, and he's got them on there. So he's very meticulous, like you said. He wants to go fast.
All right, my man. Well, listen, good luck the rest of the way. Sorry for the rough end to your night, and we will send you on back up there.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
That, of course, the voice of Chris Davis involved in that big wreck there that took out a pretty good portion of the field, leaving what looks to be about 5 cars on pit road getting repair. So our new race leader going to be, well, not new, but our race leader going to be Sean Rogers and Mike McConville on the front row, as that's going to take care of some of these cars on pit road. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out. That means that we'll be going to the end of lap 65. So when the 10th place car crosses the start-finish line going on to lap 66, the caution will fly once again, and that will be the end of stage number 1. Each position from 1 through 10 will be awarded bonus points at the end of the stage. So 10 points to Gryffindor. No, kidding. 10 points to the race leader and 1 point to 10th position, with 9 to second, 8 to third, and so on. As we get back underway, Sean Rogers on lap 64 has Mike McConville tuck in almost immediately right behind him. Ken Ron out of Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, still staying on the high side as he tries to get behind Matt Gaskins in the Fireball Ford Mustang. And, of course, new body styles for the Fords and the Toyotas this year. Chevrolet not going to join along in that, which is fine. It is what it is.
The number 80 car, Mark Johnston there, running 5th. Right now he's up 15 spots. But, you mentioned the Fireball car. Oh, we got trouble
Eric
again.
Papineau wrecking. That will end stage number 1 for sure this time. As, oh my, there is not going to be a whole lot of cheering in Mudville for the Mudville 9 tonight. As we're going to try to go back here and see what just happened. Oof.
It looks like
Papineau got himself loose. I'm going to run this back here real quick, Alan, and see if we can figure out where this originated, because I'll tell you what, it did not look good as I'm looking here for the 8 car of Alexander Gangler. And there it is. Go to the nose. Bring that beautiful bean footage up here. We can see Gangler trailing me, gets a shove, and oh.
It's hard to save these cars once you get them loose.
Yeah, once any air gets under that diffuser, that's the end for you, sir. All the grip goes away. However, that's going to bring up the conclusion of stage 1. So, bonus points going to be awarded to Sean Rogers, who captures the green and white checkered flag. He'll be followed by Cape May, New Jersey's very own Mike McConville. Chad Sanner out of Smithfield, PA, finishes in 3rd. Kevin Zosiak, Mark Johnston, Chris Claud, Seba Cornez, Nick Hansen, and Ken Ron, all being awarded bonus points. So 10 points to Rogers, 1 point to Ron. And there's Chris Claud just getting those couple of bonus points that he needs. And we'll talk with Chris Rogers when he gets out of this pit cycle. As everything kind of shaking itself around as everybody is now down pit road.
Some of the guys didn't come down pit road. So, like your Randy Bell, Patrick Splitter, I don't believe came down. Drivers like that, and then we've seen that these drivers come off of pit road. So Brian Tarnowski will have the lead off of pit road here on lap 66.
We're going to see if we can get a hold of Sean Rogers in the 44 out of CSS. Hey, Sean, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, man, listen, great end to stage 1 for you, at least, getting your first green and white checkered flag of the season. How was it getting through this disastrous mess?
Well, I've been pretty fortunate. I've been riding pretty cleanly up at the front most of the race. That last caution just before this, I just got lucky. There's no real other way around it. Unfortunate for my teammate Chris, but yeah, happy to get a first stage win. I think it's the first stage of the season, so we're off to a good start. Let's hope to be there at the end as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you still got your other teammate, Jeff Carson, with you here. Are you guys going to be looking to work together now or later in the race, or are we just going to kind of hang around one another?
Yeah, we're just going to pretty much hang out for now. I'm sure later in the race, if we end up on each other's bumper, obviously we're going to help one another. But no, nothing really in the works yet. Just trying to get through the next, handful of laps.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations on winning the first stage of the 2024 season. I know that we're going to be having more conversations throughout the year, so congrats on your 10 bonus points, and we'll see you later.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Going to get him on up back in there to CSS. I'll tell you what, Alan, what a wild finish to the end of stage 1.
Yeah, as the first half of the stage was fairly calm, but once they realized that the end of the stage was coming and it was go time, that's when we saw the energy ramp up.
Brian Tarnowski going to be our race leader when we come back to green. He'll be followed by Michael Witt, Matt DiCiani, Derek Heitman, Patrick Gitter, Randy Belt, Seba Cornez, Nick Hansen, Jeff Carson, and Kevin Zosiak. Sean Rogers on the outside of the top 10 looking in for now, but I'm sure we're going to see him dig his way back up in there, as we will so many times this season see that. And, that CSS stable up there is going to be a force to be reckoned with this year.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they look good in a clash. I mean, it's only Daytona. But you know what I like about the playoff system, Dave, is if you win and punch your ticket right in the first round, you get to try different things on throughout the year, and you're just racing for wins until you get back to the playoffs, and then we reset the point to start over.
Yeah, and the playoff system at first, I know that all the NASCAR purists were, absolutely abhorred by, oh my goodness, playoffs in NASCAR. It just doesn't belong. But I would say over the last, 10, 15 years that people have gotten on board with it. And I think that, everybody's pretty much gotten over playoff allergies.
Call it playoff allergies, call it regular allergies, call it what you will. As the number 28 car, Brian Karnowski, I'm butchering that one all night long. He's going to lead us down the green. The iRacing.com pace car is on the pit road. Brian on the button. Michael Witt, who is outside. We are down and away here at Daytona for the restart here on lap number 68. And Dave, they are going to fan out 2 by 2 as they head off into turn number 1.
Yeah, they haul it down into turn 1, and once again we're dealing with some issues here because of how many cars there are out on the racetrack. It's a tough one to try to handle, but it's something that we can't really avoid. We've dealt with it in many other leagues, and we kind of got to wait till things pan out later here in the race.
As we got the number 14 of Matt DeCaney there in the number 14 at Apex Designs Chevy Camaro pushing that number 28 car, and Chad Stanner there in the number 17 car as we were looking deeper in the field as we got a car dropping back. Ryan Samuelson dropping back. He's gonna be waiting patiently there in the draft here as we come a little deeper in the field. Nolan Hodgson there in the number 12 car. I love that Brett car as he is running behind that 79 car right now, and that 79 car is Matthew Gaskins. And it's a beautiful sight watching cars run this racetrack, Dave.
You'll have to forgive us for the connection issues as the yellow flag has come out, which means that we're going to have even more connection issues as cars are just going everywhere back here. I see Tarnowski on timing and scoring. Oh, Tarnowski just got shoved out of the way, and then we, of course, can't watch the darn thing. Unfortunately, folks, due to the number of cars here on the track, of course, that'll clear itself up when we're not on a super speedway. It can be problematic for any computer. We've tried it from different sides of the country. We've tried it from different computers, and it's just something that we can't avoid when trying to broadcast more than 35 cars. It's completely frustrating.
And to your point, Dave, this is one of the bigger races of the year, so we're gonna probably have drivers come and go and stuff, and weeks where they can't make it, and on race night, and so there's that too.
Well, very true. I'm trying to see if I can't get this dialed up, and it wants to fight me. Because why would anything do what it's supposed to do on week 1?
That's why it's week 1.
Well, as we get ready to go back green flag racing in another lap or so here, Matt DiCiani going to lead us back to green. Derek Heitman starting in P2. Randy Belk in 3rd. Michael Witt in 4th. And Kevin Zosiak rounding out the top 5. Nick Hansen, Patrick Gitter, Rich Jett, Jeff Carson, and Chad Sander going to make up your top 10. Looking from the outside in this time is Chris Claud and Kavaja Holt, as they will be 11th and 12th when the green flag flies again, as the iRacing.com pace car leads us down the front stretch one more time. We're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media.
My name is Leon Kyles. I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I have 2 adult children, one 34, one 25, and a wife. And I'm glad to be here today. When I got the initial news of my prostate cancer, it was devastating because I got a phone call from my doctor late in the evening, and I was wondering why he was calling, so I put it on speakerphone, and me and my wife was sitting there watching the movie, and he just came straight out and said, "You got cancer." You know, the first thing that went through my mind was, man, am I gonna make it? So I had a lot of different thoughts going through my mind. You know, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to survive, you know, what was gonna happen with my wife, my kids, and, you know, I felt hurt, a lot of pain. Through 211, actually. They gave me the number to Trisha Hope, and which was a great thing because Trisha Hope has been very helpful throughout my process of going through my cancer, going through my surgery. Now it's in remission. I don't have it anymore, no diagnosis. And she really helped me with some bills and stuff like that with a grant that I appreciate very much. She helped me out, also gave me some referrals to some agencies that could help me out in my city in Anderson. We had at least, you know, probably over the last few months, at least about 6 or 7 conversations where, you know, she would always have an encouraging word to say, always, you know, telling me to be thankful, you know, and just live your life to the fullest, and them the things I've been doing. Anybody that may be experiencing cancer in any shape, form, or fashion, trust God. You have to be patient. You have to make go to your doctor's appointments, and then just, you know, live your life to the full extent. Enjoy yourself, and just keep moving forward because God is there for you. This program is to help cancer patients, and, you know, the donations would be gratefully appreciated because they go through a lot of things and they have a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of bills, things that, you know, they can't take care of anymore because of the job situation, leave of absences. Some people never go back to work. Some people are going through chemo and they need a helping hand. So if you could donate anything to help the Trisha Hope Foundation, it would be greatly appreciated.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler, or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway and the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series. Dave Riegel and Alan Burgan here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth just outside the city of brotherly love as we're bringing you all of the action from Daytona Beach right now. Matt DiCianni, our race leader, he's getting a nice little draft here from Derek Heitman. I'll tell you what, Alan, this has been a great race already as we're just 76 laps in of 200.
Yeah, 76 laps in of 200. We're approaching that halfway point, and after we cross the halfway mark here, it will be in downright dogfight to the end here as we're starting to get a little spread out, and this is the as what I like to call a lull in the there's plenty of action all over the track, but people are going to start to settle down and settle in as we have a car on pit road. It would appear as the number 80 car is still on pit road, getting some damage picked up on that car. But
watching Chris Claud here in the number 10 Monster Energy Toyota Camry. He's kind of in a sweet spot. He's got a little bit of space in front of him, a little bit of space behind him. He's at this point just kind of hanging out and, letting the chips fall where they will. We do want to apologize for some of the connection issues that we have. You have to understand, as good as our computers are, sometimes not good enough to handle, drawing all of these cars on your screens. And when too much happens too fast and at 200 miles per hour, it's absurd. Sometimes that can cause some glitches in the matrix, so to speak. So I just wanted to address that right off the top as, Liam Ervig and Piston Rods and Dad Bods wanted that addressed. And, of course, speaking of Liam Ervig, tomorrow night, right here on Sim Racing Media, going live about 8:30 p.m. Actually, should be about 8:10. You're going to see us come live on YouTube.com for qualifying in the United Rentals 300 as we open the Xfinity season right here on Sim Racing Media.
We got trouble.
We got trouble in River City.
Man. And
that looks like it's going to take out perhaps. Nope, that's before. Let's go here to Channing Ballou this time around. Channing Ballou on the high side comes down. It looks, whoa. What in the world was that? Let's see if we can't nail this down. There's Matt Gaskins. He shoots on by. And I can't see who that is around him. So let's take a closer look, if you will. Looks like that may be the 23. Let's see if we can find that here. That's Sean Kelly. As we pull up this replay.
Ooh, the 24 car stepped out of line.
Yeah, he did.
And that caused a 35 to check up.
And let the screaming begin on race radio as we're going to run this back and take a look from the nose of the 24 of Richard Pruitt as we see maybe what happened here. We can see right here from the hood of Richard Pruitt. They checked up in front of him. He got out of line, and by that point, it looks like Tarnowski may have already not had enough time to run around him. So we see Pruitt go down below. He gets a bump from Tarnowski, and there it is.
I can bet you right now.
Proverbial dynamite in the rear of the pack.
I can bet you right now there's a lot of people with 5-letter adjectives right now. The few drivers not making the Christmas card list.
Brian Tarnowski not involved in that, as he is the lucky dog, and he'll be coming high here and getting back on the lead lap. As we ride along with Brian, where did he go? Let's see if we can get a hold of good old Brian. Hey, Brian, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me? Hey, Brian, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, listen, another season of Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series action. Thank you once again for being our title sponsor. How's the 28 handling that I see her here as the lucky dog coming back around?
Well, after getting, deciding to look at the field from outside my passenger window, it's actually driving not bad. But yeah, now I'm just hanging out. Now I'm just going to hang out, let them do their thing, and see what I can do.
Sometimes hanging out in these situations is, all you really need, especially at this stage in the race. 80 laps in, you've got 121 to go. How are you feeling as far as hanging out with the teammates there, in a new season?
It's good. We got a lot of good conversation going and strategy, and a couple of us are involved already. So, we just kind of take it as it is and move forward for the next one as we get there.
Well, and as you know, you and I have a special bond. We used to have a magnet that was between the two of us, and now it's just become, here I am in the booth away from you. But I always kind of smile when I think, yeah, I got Tarnowski again, and you probably got Riegel again. It's the same thing every week.
Well, I guarantee when I got spun, we would have made contact for sure.
Oh, so. God, yeah. I could have been 14 cars away and gotten taken out.
Oh, yeah. So, no, I did a little pit strategy off that caution right before the stage, and I stayed out. And it worked out okay until kind of got pinballed.
I get it. All right, man. Well, listen, good luck the rest of the way. Thank you once again for being our partner here at Sim Racing Media, and maybe we'll see you on the other side like always.
Oh, definitely.
All right, my brother. Good luck.
All right, thanks.
That, of course, the voice of Brian Tarnowski, who, I've gotten a chance to call my friend and brother here on the iRacing.com servers as he gets wound back up coming off of pit road. Came in for a little drop of fuel, a little repair work there. As we get ready to go back, green flag racing, Matt DiCiani going to lead us back to green. Derek Heitman, Randy Belk, Kevin Zosiak, and Patrick Gitter going to be your top 5. Richard Pruitt, Jeff Carson, Sean Rogers, Michael Witt, and Kavaja Holt going to round out the top 10. Hiding deeper in the field is, well, that's interesting. Where did he go? Is Chris Claud back in 25th. And, of course, the 68 hiding back there with him as well. So there's still a lot of big names here. Matt Metler and the max load number 64 back on the lead lap running in 16th position. So, Alan, this is going to be an interesting restart.
Yeah, interesting, as well as Matt DeCani brings the field down to the Geico restart zone. He is on the button. Derek Heitman to his outside, and Matt DeCani is going to get the whole shot as Derek Heitman, jumps down in the low line, and we have a whole gaggle of cars. It looks like a car did not take off the way he should have, but nonetheless, we are down and away with Patrick Glitter there in the number 4 spot, and he has moved up 31 spots as Randy Belk there in the number 50 car. He has moved up 36 spots.
We saw Matt Metler diving down there on the low side. We see Jeff Carson trying to hold his own with Sean Rogers here in the 44. As Beast Mode now getting ready to dive and abandoning Jeff Carson on the high side. He's going to have to find a place to slide the number 9 in. Let's see where he goes as he's looking. It's kind of like driving around the block looking for a place to park. When you're going to the theater and you don't feel like paying that parking fee in the paid lot. So here you are trying to find a spot to parallel out on the street. And it looks like there he is. He's going to slide right in between Gaskins and Metler. And I'll tell you what, he's probably in a pretty good slot there as he's got plenty of real estate behind him. That's going to allow Matt Mettler now, as we're going to go to the nose here of the 64, a chance to be pushed from behind by Chad Sanner and go up here to collect Jeff Carson in this draft. Now the question is, do they go high? Does he stay low?
I think he's going to stay low. And oh, no, he goes high. He goes high. Mettler goes high, and Jeff Sanner there as we're riding with Mettler. There in the 94 car, Chad Sanner there. Oh, we got trouble. The two car goes around. Dalton Mobley goes around.
Well,
and calamity strikes again.
Let's see if Mettler got caught with a big load here. There it is. Oy! That's not going to make anybody happy. Let's see if we can get this backed up here. There's the two drifting up in front of Mettler. So that might be a Dalton Mobley issue here. Let's see if we can see this maybe from another perspective. Hey. Yeah. Dalton Mobley had no idea that Mettler was up there. I firmly believe that. And we'll look at this one more time here. Yeah, Dalton thought that he was clear, and it's clear that he didn't know. And we'll take a look here. Oh! Wow!
Got back.
Maybe we need to look at that from one more place. Perhaps a little bit of arc brake action.
The 19 car. It almost seems to me as the two checked up and then the 19 had nowhere to go.
Kind of like playing with these new replay controls we have this season.
Right. Ron Fitting shot the load into the car.
Let's just run this back here once, as we say here in Pennsylvania, and we're going to take a look right this way. Yeah, Ron definitely got off the throttle, but just plowed right into the rear end of Matt Mettler. My goodness. So that's going to make things look a little bit different. In fact, let's get a hold of old Matt and see if we can find out what just happened. He's probably not very happy, but it begs to give us an answer. Hey, Matt, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me? Where in the world did Mettler go? I think he just rage quit. Yep, sure did. All right, let's see if we can find Ron Fitting up in Grease Monkey. Hey, Ron, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, yeah. How's it going, buddy?
It's going better for me than it is for you. What just happened down there? It looks like you got off the throttle but had no place to go.
Yeah, that's been it. That's the second caution now that, I get off the throttle and I'm on the binders real hard and I just can't get stopped and I don't know what's going on with this race. I'm riding along the outside there and here in the race, we didn't get a call out or didn't hear any notifications. And by the time I could see it, I couldn't stop, couldn't go nowhere. And
look, I'll be the first to defend you. There was definitely no ARCA braking. I heard race radio, and I mean, I have the in-car for you. It's you get off the throttle, and there was nothing else you could do.
Yeah, that's where I was at. I mean, I was just going to let them, take it and see what they figure out with it. And if I got penalized for it, I would just dispute it later. But I think everything will be all right with it. But on a positive note, I went into pits there, and no damage. So hopefully I can make this thing to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's definitely where, you're going to make your money for sure, as far as, getting yourself out of that line of fire. But who else do you need to tip your helmet to tonight in case we don't get a chance to chat later?
Well, I guess we need to give Tyler some encouragement. He's getting a little discouraged. His first time here in this league, and he's getting discouraged. Keeps getting banged up in there, and he's ready to throw in the towel.
Nah, it's too early for that. It's only week 1, stage 2.
Yeah,
You can throw in the towel when it's about week 15 and it's stage 3. I spent a long time in this league, with you and before you, and it is what it is. It's not the league. It's just stuff happens.
Oh yeah, and it's Daytona, so I mean
It is. It is. All right, my friend. Well, listen, we'll send you back on up there into Grease Monkey, and good luck the rest of the way, brother.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
That, of course, the voice of Ron Fitting driving the number 3 Chevrolet Camaro here, and I'll tell you what, we've started to see a lot of the well, let's just say troublesome trucks getting out of the way here, as anybody who's got a child that's watched Thomas the Tank Engine would say.
We're coming back to the green. That's the iRacing.com pace car. Gets ready to make the hard left turn. Matt DeCani on the pole on this one. And he's going to have Derek Heitman to the outside. Randy Belk will be on the inside of row number 2 as we are getting ready to hit that Geico restart zone. Matt DeCani on the button, and we are down and away. Green flag is out, and we are back racing here in the great American race here at Daytona. Matt DeCani going to get the whole shot. You don't want to get too far out ahead of the field, as it does not pay if you get that far ahead. But he's going to jump to the outside line. We're going to go 3 wide back there.
To your point, you get too good of a jump here on the restart, and you wind up getting chewed up by the draft behind you. But DiCiani manages to hang on just ahead of Derek Heitman now, as Sean Rogers in the 44 going to be right behind Patrick Gitter. Now, watch the low side here. Kevin Zasiak leading a low line charge. We're going to see eventually if these guys are communicating the way that, in my mind, they should. But right now, if you watch, looks like Randy Belk in the 50. He's going to have to make a decision here, and he's kind of out of line. He's more indecisive than a congressman without a lobbyist in his ear. As Chris Claud now going to lead the low line. And you have to wonder if Chris gets a good push from Zasiak. As we saw earlier, Chris is really good being pushed from behind. Now he just needs a good pusher. Zasiak needs some help from the 24 if they're going to make any hay before it's time to put it up in the barn. We watch the 59 now of Seba Cornez, and we haven't really talked about Seba, and I'll tell you what, I've raced with him for the last couple of years. He's an incredible driver. He drops down now just ahead of Sanner, and Sanner in the 94 and Hodgson in the 12 are going to come along with Seba just in front of Chris. Now, they're going to have to really work hard together here, as we've got about 40 laps to the end of stage 2. Wow! Look at Kavaja Holt pushing Ron Fitting. We just got done talking to Ron. And we see now that top line from about 7th on back getting themselves together, as now he's being rocketed. Whoa! They just have... Oh, we're going to have a problem. Oh, God. 3 wide... 3 wide, and Kavaja is the meat in this sandwich. One wrong flick of the wrist, and it's all over. Oh, Kavaja's got to be there white-knuckled with sweat pouring off of his palms. I hope he's wearing gloves on the wheel as he now tucks in. Whew. Just behind the 17 and the 1. My goodness. Now, all of a sudden, that's going to open the door for Chris Claud to come back up here. Oh, I'm up here in the broadcast booth almost out of breath after that one.
Yeah, that was a moment for sure, as we are back up here near the front. And look at this gaggle of cars right here. 2x2. little groups, a little bit of tandem, a little bit of side-by-side action as the number 5 car on your screen almost dives down the inside line. These cars are getting pretty squirrely here as we are getting ready to come near the end of stage 2. Like you said, Dave, we are nearing the halfway point, ever so close, inch by inch, as the outside line starts to make another move here in this gaggle of cars. We got the number 50 car of Randy Belk. These numbers are sometimes hard to see, but Matthew Gaskin is helping Randy Belk down the back straightaway. And that Chevy Camaro, I love that silver and green Chevy Camaro there.
Riding along with Matt Gaskins from Parts Unknown here in the number 79 Race Labs machine. He is, well, I shouldn't say Race Labs, but the Fireball machine. Of course, some of your entertainment this year will be brought to you by Fireball when I get to the liquor store. Just as a forewarning. Of course, tonight it's brought to you by Death Wish Coffee, as we've got 500 miles, 200 of these laps. And we can see Gaskins holding on for dear life here in this draft. As we take a look around the 79, he's just alongside of Chris Claud, and now getting ready to give a little love tap here to the 50 if he can get pushed up to the 50. He doesn't want to be too aggressive. As, whoa, watch out for the high side. That's the 35 of Tyler Sexton, teammate of Ron Fitting, as Sexton just tucked himself up against the wall and prayed for something good to happen. We see Ron Fitting here on our left as Gaskins is absolutely hooked up to the rear end here of the 50 of Randy Belk.
That Apex Designs, Team Conti, Chevy Camaro. Wow, almost for a fact about in here. He is hooked up on that outside line, and right now the outside line has the advantage handedly over the inside line as they come down the back straightaway. Cars moving inside, outside, making the faceless move right now. And we are still watching Randy Belk. And here comes the number 79 car of Matthew Gaskin. He's going to suck up to that bumper and then back off coming through the corner. And that's almost what you want to do in drafting. And I tell you, Dave, drafting is an art form. It is not easy to do, and a lot of people can't do it. But when you get it right, look out, because you are going to be putting down some laps.
And, you know, here's the thing. I'm sitting here watching Seba Cornez lead this pack here. They're about 7 seconds behind the leaders, and that's DiCianni, Heitman, Gitter, and Rogers. And they're just out here for a nice Sunday night drive while there is an angry pack of Hornets behind them. And here's the thing. We're watching DiCianni, Heitman, Gitter, and Rogers lead this piece, and they're up there with absolutely no stress whatsoever. I mean, as they're up there leading, they don't have to worry about the battle that's going on behind them that Seba's leading. And, you know, Seba has all of these drivers side by side behind him. He's now going to drop down just in front of the 29 of Tanner Marty in the tops machine. Whoa! All of a sudden, Dalton Mobley started to flirt with the high side and realized that there was no place to put the deuce. He got a little loose there, according to Race Radio. Matt Gaskins now just behind Chad Sanner. And believe you me, if I'm anybody, I want to see Sanner as my drafting partner. Of course, Sanner being scored as the 94, but painted as the 17. We'll have to get with him about that in the Castrol Ford Mustang. And we can see right here from the rear of Sanner just how close Gaskins is as he takes a bump. When I say takes a bump, I mean that's drafting. It's not South Florida where taking a bump means something completely different.
Here comes another bump from Gaskin down the back right, and you can see right there from the onboard shot, he's just backing off and not pushing the issue. These cars do not like to bump draft into the corner. They're you know, and then even if you bump draft down the straightaway, you got to be squared up on the car in front of you. If not, it's going to upset the car. It's going to get the car in front of you pretty loose. And
Sanner is absolutely hammering. Or I'm sorry. Gaskins is absolutely hammering the rear bumper of Sanner and doing a great job at it. We can see that here as they come right back into the front stretch. Now, we see Seba Cornez having backed up and something wild going on alongside of him, Tanner Marty, as they almost wanted to go 3 wide for reasons nobody's quite sure of.
Here comes the outside line there. And they're going to try to mount another attack as we got a car that's almost trying to figure out how to go through wide. And that's the 9 car, Jeff Carson. And Dave, you mentioned quite numerous times that Jeff Carson is a guy that you want on your side. But I guarantee you that when it comes down to 2 to go or even 5 to go, Jeff Carson is not really going to be your friend.
I'd run over my own teammate if it was 3 to go. In fact, I've tried it. It doesn't work out well, but I've tried it. It's also why I'm here in the broadcast booth.
I mean, I can't disagree with you.
Now, the other thing to start keeping your eye on is that a lot of these leaders here, DiCiani, Heitman, Gitter, and Rogers, well, at least DiCiani, Heitman, and Gitter all came down between lap 61 and 62. So they're going to have to start considering whether or not they come down pit road as the window going to open. Now, Rogers came down on 70, and he's back here saving fuel. So Rogers is going to have a little bit more leash here. So those leaders are going to be affected. Randy Belk as well came down on 61. So let's pull up some of the pit strategy here, at least for our leaders. 1 through 10, this is kind of wild if you look at it. Not one person, with the exception of DiCiani and Heitman, came down on the same lap. So DiCiani and Heitman have 37 laps on these tires, 38 laps for Gitter, 29 for Rogers, 14 for Sanner and Gaskins, as well as Cornez and Marty. So that stint length here for the top 10 is really starting to come into play as we get deeper in.
Dave, you want to know a factoid?
If
we approach the halfway point, you know,
look at that.
we're gonna peel back the curtain a little bit. So today, Racers Elite ran a 500 miler, which I was on the call with Jonathan Leach, and now we're doing this 500 miler on here on SNN. And so, with that being said, I am 700 miles into tonight's broadcast. 750 to be exact.
You know, some people wake up in the morning and they have a cup of coffee, and, you know, maybe a cigarette, depending on what your feelings are on tobacco products are. But you woke up this morning and snorted a full line of iRacing, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Some people like cocaine, other people like iRacing. Quite frankly, iRacing slightly healthier.
Well, there may or may not be. We may or may not get to see Jonathan Leach. And Jonathan Leach, if you're watching, I am going to hold you against our little deal. So we were at 33 people watching our YouTube feed today. And I told him, if you get the 43, we're putting him in a dirt late model and sending him on a dirt track.
As we're taking a look here at our YouTube.com live chat, looks like a little conversation. Yes, this is an open setup league. Of course, what that means for those of you that aren't aware, open setups basically means that these drivers can set the chassis to however they want it to go. You know, it allows you to twist that chassis to make the turns and, you know, make it handle good for you. So there are some drivers that we're going to see very dominant in the season if they're being sponsored by a setup shop. Of course, for people like Alan and I, any kind of open setup that we get usually comes from a setup shop because we have day jobs and we don't have that kind of time. Now, if you're able to change your day job and make yourself a setup wizard, such as Jeff Carson here driving the number 9, of course, the Carson setup shop was mentioned earlier, you know, you've got time to sit there and tweak and tune that car just right. So,
yeah,
just wanted to address that in the YouTube.com live chat.
And to Dave's point, when you got day jobs, you're a fixed setup kind of guy. You just want to get in the car and go.
Yeah, pretty much. Set your brake bias, get your offset ready to rock, and you're pretty much set. But looks like Jamie Beasley cheering on Let's Go Ironman Motorsports. Jason Bell saying that's a hell of a lead by those 4 are climbing. Definitely some solid racing. Yeah, now that we've, you know, I hate to say it this way, but once you get some of the rough riders out of the way, you know, you get some really good racing in this league. And Chad Sanner is leading the charge here to try to get caught back up. But they're 15 seconds behind Sean Rogers. So barring, you know, a caution for cause, I mean, they aren't even on the same segment of the racetrack as one another anymore. As, you know, we can see Sanner leading this single file conga line down into turn number 3, we take a peek up here to Rogers, who's already going in to turn number 1. So they're basically, half a track away from one another.
Yeah, it's Sean Rogers in that 4th position pretty handily. And, I've done open setups races without a setup, and this makes for a very long day. And so usually, I'm like you, Dave. We're a setup shop's dream right now. Oh, you need setups? We got you, right? So it's like deodorant. It's all about preference on where you go.
Well, no, deodorant's a little bit different. At least depending on how bad you stink. I mean, quite frankly, there are some people that could use clinical strength and really double that.
We have 36 more weeks of the racing back and forth. I'm telling you, by the end of the season day, we're taking this on the road.
Quite frankly, when we go to Miami, that is taking it on the proverbial road. Last year, I had the distinct pleasure of popping into the broadcast booth while Frank Marchese was working a race. I don't remember who was with him, but might have been you. I don't know. But Frank was working a race, and I was sitting heavily inebriated on the couch outside of our Airbnb and said, "I'll sit with you." And it turned out probably best that we had to go elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I like, is swapping the stories and hearing everything that goes on, and it's like camaraderie. As we're watching number 50 car of Randy Belk here in line, and that's part of the second group right there, Dave, as they are trying to inch closer to the 4th place of Tanner Marty. That second group, and we've seen it time and time again. There's 2 distinct groups, and that first group ain't
what
even
in the world is going on here?
Oh, what the 50 car?
That's Randy Belk. Randy just got all the way out of line. I believe that was Randy Belk. There he is.
Man. I think he might have troubles with the car because it's slowing to a stop.
It doesn't sound good. Let's take a run back here. And I'm afraid that he may have ran himself out of fuel as he was running up here just behind Alex Princeton. And we're going to run this. Uh-oh. Yep, that would be the end of his fuel.
So he's hoping to make it back around. I don't think I don't believe that would happen. But I believe at the end of the day, he's probably end up towing and taking the 2-minute penalty.
We're going to watch this one more time and make sure that he didn't pop a gear. As it looks like here he is once again just behind Princeton, 8,100 RPMs.
8,100, 8,100,
and it starts to cough. It coughs, cough, cough, sputter, sputter. Bad day at Daytona. So Randy Belk rolls the dice with fuel mileage. He does make it back to pit road, but now that's going to open up the door for Heitman, DiCiani, Gitter, and Rogers. And of course, Belk was part of that group that came down on 61 and 62. So these drivers now going to have to dive on down. And with basically 25 laps more fuel in the cars, Chad Sanner going to assume the race lead from Matthew Gaskin, Seba Cornez, and Tanner Marty now going to be our race leaders. That cycles Heitman, DiCiani, Gitter, and Rogers back to the rear of the field in 21st through 24th, as they're now just coming off of pit road.
Yeah, and that's a tough break for the 50 car. Man, that's a real tough break. That's disheartening when you're running out of gas like that.
Well, here's the thing, and I don't know if this is something that you've experienced on iRacing or not, but I know during my driving career I had this experience many times. Where you're sitting there and you're looking at one set of data that says you've got 5 laps to go, and then you look at the iRacing data and it says that you've got 3 laps to go. and you're sitting there trying to, in your head, say, well, which one do I trust more, which one do I trust less? And it winds up becoming a gamble, and of course we all want to believe the 5 laps to go. But as a driver, you're sitting there going, but it's 3. For me, I'd be a little bit conservative and say, hey, listen, I'm going to come down now.
I'm with you on that wholeheartedly. And we still got 90 laps to go, so it's not like he's going to be like thousands of laps down when he comes out of the pits. But he's going to depend a lot more on cautions to get caught back up.
Now, the next thing we're going to keep an eye on here is going to be Tanner Marty, as we have a helmet cam from him. And Tanner Marty in the 29 is now chasing down Seba Cornez. There's about 2 seconds between these two drivers. And as we move forward here, we can see he's all single file. There's nobody else around. And he's got to be able to chase down Seba Cornez and those front 3 of Sander, Gaskins, or Cornez. And those are 3 names that we're going to hear a lot throughout the season as we move deeper in here. And of course, when I say move deeper in, I mean, good Lord, it's only week 1. It's only stage 2 of week 1. We're at lap 112. And, there's still, and here comes Tanner Marty into pit road.
And he's bringing a whole gaggle.
Talk about pulling out the parachute quick, as they did hit that. So now that's gonna leave Sander, Gaskins, Cornez, all these drivers that came down on 79. Chris Claud in 10th position, holding on to that 1 bonus point with 22 laps to go here. I'm sorry, with 8 laps to go in stage number 2. Oh! That's the 9. That's Jeff Carson. Oh, my.
I think he's okay, though.
He said, I got it. Let's take a look. Carson being pushed around. Oh, got hooked by Kavaja. Let's see if we
That was a racing deal there.
Let's see if we can run that back from Kavaja's perspective, because I'm pretty sure if he could, he would get that one back in a heartbeat. Because, I know Kavaja's not out here to be, let's just say, aggressive for argument's sake. But we're going to take one more look here. Yeah. Maybe Kavaja got loose and just clipped Jeff. But now that's going to lead us to Jeff being down pit road after smacking the wall. And
I don't think
leaves Sander up top.
I don't think it caused too much damage.
Nope, it's still going to be Sander, Gaskins, and Seba atop the pile. That puts Mike McConville in 4th. They're about 7 seconds behind those leaders. So as we move on here from that incident, we're going to see exactly what these guys are made of to try to get caught up there. Maybe they can close the gap yet.
I was suspecting. But nonetheless,
15 laps to 130. I don't know what kind of math was not mathing, but my goodness.
They were doing St. Louis math.
3 wide as Ron Fitting gets in the way of Mike McConville as he's trying to pick up the draft. And he does, with some success.
Yeah, Mike McConville, good on Fitting to see that Mike McConville was there and get in front of that lead, in front of that pack there of Mike McConville as he's leading that, essentially that second pack down the back straightaway. And so that's one way to stay with the draft, is to get in front of the lead car, and then you become the lead car.
Without a doubt now, Chad Sander going to lead us here on lap 116 back to 117, as McConville now pushing Ron Fitting along. So maybe that's going to help them out, as it looks like Fitting able to be pushed by McConville. And it looks like Kavaja Holt now going to be pushing McConville. So these drivers have a pretty good chance of being linked up and sticking together like they've got some Gorilla Glue between them.
Or Velcro. We can go with Velcro.
Fitting just jumping out of line. That allows Kavaja to push McConville into his rear bumper as we go down the backstretch. Let's take a look here from McConville. Mikey Mack pushing the 3 car into turn 3, backing off, and here he comes for another strike. Ron Fitting just ahead of Mike McConville. McConville not willing to close in that close to the corner. As you had mentioned earlier, Alan, these cars do not like to be pushed through the corner.
No, and you know that goes back.
Here comes a good hit. Come on.
Get him.
Nah, he doesn't have enough. It's almost like Fitting won't get off the throttle enough to let McConville strike.
There you go. All Ron Fitting's got to just keep it straight, keep it steady. As we are back there looking at Ricky Williams, he's about 3rd in line in that pack. As he's got the slow car of Nolan Hodgins on his back bumper there in that number 12 Ford Mustang. Nick Hansen there running the 8th position there. And these guys are just close enough to each other to keep the draft, but yet far enough away to not get in any kind of trouble.
Yes, sir. As we're working lap number 119, they're getting ready to come back for 120. When we come back here on Sim Racing Media, we'll catch the end of stage number 2. I'm Dave Riegel. He's Alan Burgan, and this is Sunday Night NASCAR.
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there
outside. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. Dave Riegel and Alan Burgan in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, bringing you all of the action of the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series Daytona 500 2024 edition, as Chris Claud, Seba Cornez, the 59 of Chad Sanner, all coming down pit road, as the 79 of Matt Gaskins comes down pit road. He is now off, as that will cycle Mike McConville back to the race lead. So, here's what's interesting, Alan. As we've got about 5 laps to go here, we're just on the cusp of whether or not some of these drivers can make it to the end of Stage 2, and McConville looking to try to get himself some 10 bonus points there if he can capture the green and white checkered flag.
Yeah, so we see, Mike McConville there in the number 1 car. He's, up 5 positions. But I'm very impressed with this league. This is only my second race. Watching, calling the races for this league. We did clash together. We're doing this together. Dave, I'm so impressed with how talented these drivers are. And it's just so amazing. It's like watching the Coca-Cola iRacing series there. Watching these guys run around this racetrack.
Well, we're watching Ron Fitting lead Mike McConville, and of course Mikey Mack running in the lead right now. However, basically Ron Fitting would be, right now he's the last car on the lead lap. So he would be the lucky dog no matter what if it comes down to that here at this point in the race, as Mikey Mack going to push him along as he gets a bump here from Kavaja Holt out of Waynesboro. So there's still a lot of racing to go. Ricky Williams running in 3rd, Nolan Hodgson in 4th, and Nick Hansen in 5th. Now, green flag pit stops just had to take place as Seba Cornez came down. Now, he leads the charge of the cars that just came back onto the track. But we've basically got 2 laps to go here in stage number 2.
2 laps to go. Mike McConville handedly leading the race here to the end of the stage. I'm pretty confident the pit road is closed right now, as they would close it 2 laps before the end of the stage. Nonetheless, coming down to get the 1 to go here in the stage 2, as we are down the back straightaway. And I'm so impressed with Ron Fitting. He's a lap down, and he's the last car on the lead lap. Finding his tail, he's all he's got to do is survive 1 more lap to get to the end of the stage.
The white flag flies. We're on the last lap here of stage number 2. Mike McConville, Kavaja Holt, and Ricky Williams, your top 3. They bring along Nolan Hodgson and Rich Jett As Jet swings to the outside, he wants some extra bonus points here for the end of the stage. He's hoping that he's got enough here to side draft the 0-0 of Kavaja Holt. He's trying to pull himself up here into the lead, but he has nobody to help him. So in a couple of seconds, we're either going to see him fade into the evening, and here he goes, fading. He's going to have to slide right between McConville and Holt. And come on, get down without wrecking Kavaja Holt. So all of a sudden, Rich Jet just went from 5th to 2nd. He drafts up just behind McConville, who gets around Matt Gaskins in the 79. The green and white checkered flag waves. And Mike McConville, your Stage 2 winner.
Congratulations on Mike McConville, Stage 2 winner here from Daytona.
Well, we're going to see in just a second here. There it goes. Now that Seba Cornez is going to pass. There it is. The pace car comes out, and we are back. That's going to be a problem. Mike McConville, who just won the stage. Hey, nobody held their position.
Oh.
Stand by while we wait for the scoring decision. Trying to get a hold of Mike McConville now, our Stage 2 winner. There he is here. And out of Cape May, New Jersey, we were on the way to Cape May when Mike McConville crossed the start-finish line and won Stage number 2. Hey, Mike, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Man, I was more confused than Ray Charles in the Louvre. I couldn't figure out if they gave you the stage win or not.
I think they said they did. I'd be a little upset if they didn't, because we made that fuel run perfect, and I ran out coming down the backstretch.
That a boy, Luther.
Oh, man.
Look, you've got the one car all kinds of cranked up tonight. What are you thinking as we now go into Stage 3? I mean, we've basically got a little less than 70 laps to go here in this piece. What does the one team decide?
Well, we're just going to sit and ride. We're going to work with the 99. I'm real bummed that the 18 got wrecked out early. He and I were working real good on that top side early on. But we're just going to ride, click the laps off. Got a stage win, got great stage points in Stage 1. Led a lap already, got that bonus point. So we're going to chill and hang out to the end of the race, let the crazy happen, and then we're going to go at it.
Well, I mean, you live in New Jersey, so you're used to letting crazy happen all around you.
Ain't that the truth, buddy?
Listen, that's the best toll that I pay when I come back across the bridge.
Hey, it's free to come in. Got to pay to get out.
That's fine. That's no problem. I mean, look, here you are trying to, battle your way here. We're in a fresh season. I know that you had a really strong finish at the end of last season. So, me personally, it's always, don't get me wrong, I've got my buddies up in here. But, of course, at the same time, I've got you and I've got oh my goodness, Joe Stafford, of course. Everybody from the 215 are really from that Jersey area. This whole little, the Delaware Valley, as the news calls it. So I'm always cheering for everybody who's nearby.
Yeah, man, we're gonna try to do the area proud. Try to get one of these Jersey boys or the Delaware Valley boys.
Yeah,
in Victory Lane.
Are you a 6 ABC guy or an NBC 10 guy?
Man, it's rough since I hate the guy on 6 ABC retired.
Jim, what's his nuts?
Yeah, that guy.
I just forgot his last name.
I loved watching him, but
Well, that's all right. Listen, we're always accepting new viewers over on Fox 29. You can tune in with Bob Kelly. He likes to hang out down there in South Jersey.
Oh, all right. Maybe I'll check him out.
All right, brother, man. Listen, good luck the rest of the way, and maybe we'll see you here in Victory Lane.
Hell yeah, brother. That's the plan.
All right, we're going to send him back on up. It sounds like there's some kind of argument going on race radio. I'm glad that I'm not part of it.
You're Bennett and you're not in it.
There are hurt feelings all over.
Oh, man.
So as we get ready to go back green flag racing, everybody coming in, taking a breath, maybe a quick sip of water, or whatever you happen to be consuming this evening. Rich Jett and Patrick Gitt are going to start back on the front row. Sean Rogers, Steve Cornez, Nolan Hodgson, Alex Princeton, Michael Witt, Eric Papineau, Ron Fitting, and Chris Claud going to be your top 10. So Chris looking to get some more bonus points here, as he's going to have a lot of work ahead of him. About another 65-lap run here to the end, now that we're at lap 134.
Yeah, lap 134 is the lap that we're going to come green with. The 77 of Rich Jett with the Godzilla on the side of that race car, giving Godzilla a run tonight here at Daytona.
Oh, look, it's Godzilla. No, it only looks like Godzilla. But due to international copyright laws, it's not.
Nice. The 20 car of Patrick Gitter.
It's the first little flicker that we've had in a little while. And they're going to delay the green flag as they try to clear some penalty issues up that came as a result of the distance that was between 9th and 10th.
That's all right. So, Dave, let's talk while we're going to send you guys around one more time. When you go to the local racetrack, what is your favorite racetrack? Racetrack food.
You know what? I'll be honest. When we were down in Miami, I had some type of hot dog that had pineapples and julienne fries on it. And at first, I wasn't a big fan because I'm from southeastern Pennsylvania. You put mustard on there with some onions, and you don't put ketchup anywhere near it. And I was starving. I was, let's just say, relaxed down in Miami. Excessively relaxed in Miami. And I thought, okay, I think they called it a Pica hot dog or a Pico hot dog. I don't know. Pico is who the electric comes from here. But regardless, I ate it, and it was amazing, and that suddenly became my favorite racetrack food. Otherwise, you might find me with the walking taco, but always a hot dog. I'm not to make this sound awful, and Matt Metler can keep his freaking mouth shut, but I'm a hot dog connoisseur. And I would love to go to all 30 baseball stadiums and have the hot dog in each of them. Like, I want a Dodger dog. I want a Chicago-style hot dog. I know how we do it here in Philly. But, it's always the hot dog. What about you?
As we get ready to come back to green, I have taken a liking to the ribeye sandwich. Put me a piece of ribeye on there. Put me some barbecue sauce in there, some onions and pickles, and oh my gosh. And a little side of dirt from the dirt track as we come through.
Now, here's the thing. I just feel like no matter what professional sporting event that I'm at, it comes down to the hot dog. Whether it's hockey, baseball, NASCAR, football, it's the hot dog.
And look, you're not wrong. As we come back to green flag,
is the hot dog a sandwich?
No. A hot dog is a hot dog.
But
hot dog
is the hot dog?
But
would you classify it with the sandwiches?
No.
Why? It's a piece of meat between two pieces of bread. Just because those two pieces of bread happen to be baked together doesn't make it not a sandwich. If a hoagie is a sandwich, and a hoagie is what some of you weirdos out there call a sub or a hero, if you're having a hoagie, that's a sandwich. So a hot dog is simply tube steak in a sandwich.
True. I mean, but if you were to come to the Midwest, and get a chili steak, you'd be awfully disappointed.
Well, Back here in Frostbite Falls, Bullwinkle, Rich Jet getting the shove from Sean Rogers coming back onto the front chute. Seba Cornez in hot pursuit, but if you look back here just a wee bit, Chris Claud just shot himself up to 6th position now. So it's going to go Jet, Rogers, Cornez, Hodgson, and Witt and Claude, your top 6. Taking a peek here at the youtube.com live chat. Jason Bell, yes, tube steak. Yes, sir. That's what it is. I will defend the hot dog. And we'll find out more about each type of food that, well, I'm a big dude that I like. As it looks like right now the 29 and the 19 working together here. Where did that just disappear to on my timing and scoring? That was fun. Thanks for that. That's the battle for 6th position now as Chris Claude tumbles back through the standings here into 8th.
Weird. Cars going to the outside. Still here.
All right, now Clouds is saying a hot dog is in the same genus as the taco. Oh.
Genre.
No.
I think he's being genre. No.
They were
hot dog is a
there
hot
it
dog.
is. Richard Pruitt. Caution has not flown, but we are... Oh.
We're going to see it now.
Oh! What in the world? Hey!
Yeah.
Well, that's no way to start stage 2. Taking a race car to the face. Boom!
Ouch.
Hopefully Brian's not sitting in a full motion rig because I'm pretty sure he just got sick.
Yes.
Take a look at this from Zasiak. Now there goes the 79 down below to avoid. The 24 is checked up. And Brian getting the worst of that. Hey.
Ouch. You know, we're still doing better than a real life NASCAR.
Oh my. 7th caution for cause here tonight. 9 total. As everybody's going to have to get back in line. Let's see if we can find anybody out of that mess there. Let's get a hold of Brian. Hey, Brian, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Buddy, take us through that. How did you wind up in that mess? Because I think you took the worst of that.
Yeah, I saw smoke. I went low. I hammered the brakes and locked the tires, and I had a bunch of cars in front of me, and there was nothing I could do.
I mean, thank God that you aren't in a full motion rig, because otherwise that would have been like a tilt-a-whirl. You would have puked everywhere.
Well, I mean, I do have a butt kicker that's pretty, or I got 2 of them actually, so it almost threw me out.
Nice. That's fantastic. You know, Alan and I were just talking, and of course, Butt Kicker being a sponsor here of the league, Alan and I were talking about the butt kickers. I know that mine used to be very important, especially once I got it and it was tuned properly, you know, to be able to feel that tire slip. Do you have that thing tuned where it's on your rear tires or the front?
I have one on each.
Nice.
So I can kind of feel it throughout the whole rig.
Yeah, I know that that's very beneficial, especially when you're at an intermediate track and you don't want to lose that grip on the rear end. But here at a super speedway, as soon as any air gets underneath that diffuser, it looks like it just lifts you up in the air.
Yeah, and both of them just went like 100%.
Yeah,
they just went off.
Well, hopefully you didn't have a drink anywhere nearby.
No, but but it was a fun. It was like getting a massage. I'll tell you that.
And now that you've come back from the spa, it's time to get some repair done. Do you have a lot of repair there on the 28?
Minute 20, I think it is.
That's not bad.
But the wheel's still pointing left, so we'll see how much it's pointing left after this.
Well, thank God the front stretch ends with a left-hand turn. No?
Oh yeah,
that's not how that works.
I'll be ready. Yeah, I'll be ready for that.
All right, my friend. Good luck the rest of the way.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
That, of course, the voice of Brian Tarnowski from MPG Racing, as we're going to get him back on up there. Well, Alan, caution number 7 for cause. About 60 laps to go. What goes through your mind as a driver?
60 laps to go. We're making a 60-lap run to the end, and right now I would suspect that a lot of these guys are going to come down and get some more tires, but I stand corrected there as the lead pack is not going to come down. I would probably come down, but I mean they're thinking probably come down around, I don't know, try to make it to lap 60 or 70 and do that 30-lap run to the end.
Taking a look at the YouTube.com live chat, Pistons, Rods, and Dad Bods giving us a giggity go. And Spread Thin Hobbies says that was bad. Hopefully no one was hurt. Well, if you somehow manage to get yourself thrown out of a stationary piece of equipment, then you have bigger problems than a wreck on a virtual racetrack, that's for sure. Jason Bell saying the back end hit would have definitely caused an injury. That was a solid smack. Yeah, thank goodness that we're here on a virtual racetrack, as looks like the Allen experience, and it's an experience to ride along with you, buddy. Wants to know what everybody else's favorite track food is. Quite frankly, it should just always be the hot dog. If you come, if you come to Philly and you go to the ballpark, you're getting a cheesesteak because you're a tourist. But the real connoisseur is going to have the hot dog. Promise.
Oh yeah. If you go to the baseball stadium, it's
telling you right now.
Kind of like
August 21st, 1999 was my first hot dog with mustard on it. I've never looked back.
Gotta have a ballpark hot dog. There's nothing better than sitting out at a ballpark watching a baseball game with a big hot dog with mustard and ketchup on it. Well, hey, I know, right?
Rogers, Cornez, Witt, and Claud, your top four here, as Chris Claud has gotten himself up here. He came down on 132, so he's got about 10 laps on the number 10 Monster Energy Toyota Camry. As we come back down to the green flag, the iRacing.com pace car looking to make that left turn down pit road. He does so. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. Sean Rogers brings us into the tri-oval, hits the Geico restart zone, drops the hammer, and we're back racing.
Sean Rogers at the line, and Seba's going to jump right in that bottom line and abandon Chris Claud there in the number 10, as Claud is losing wholesale positions as he is down the 5th, and another car is going to abandon the outside line. The outside line is falling apart right before your eyes. But nonetheless, Here comes Sean Rogers down the back straightaway.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating to be Chris Claud. There you were thinking that you were going to have a good restart, and all of a sudden you get just dropped off. If I was Chris, I'd be looking to that space that's right between the 29 and the 19. But he's going to hold steady. He's a principled man. I told you, he's not going to come off of his spots. If he wants to stay high, he's going to stay high. He's going to bring along Eric Papineau, who's pushing him from behind, as well as Dalton Mobley. And Mobley, a longtime veteran here in the series, definitely one of those drivers that you want to have around you, as he knows how to boogie around this piece. Now we see all of a sudden just in front of Claude, Patrick Gitter sliding up to tow Chris along, as Gitter now being scored in 4th position, bringing along Chris Claude and the rest of the top line. So he's obviously, here's the thing, Gitter's going to use Chris Claude like a pig, and they're going to get up here to the lead, and all of a sudden he's going to drop off, and Chris, once again, being the consummate professional, pushing him along, giving him a little bit of a shove here. It's an arrow push. The 44 of Sean Rogers drifts up here onto the high side. He's going to tow along Gitter, and he's going to get her done and get himself up into 2nd position before it looks like the two of them are going to drop down in front of Seba. Here it comes in 5, 4, 3, 2, no? Okay, or not. There it is. Whoa! They just stole that run away from Seba.
You should have counted the Mississippi's as we come down the back straightaway with Sean Rogers and Patrick Gitter. And here comes Seba. That inside line has got a full head of steam. Gitter hooked up to Sean Rogers there, and now he's going to back up to Seba. Meanwhile, here comes Chris Claud on that outside line trying to make something happen here. And he is bringing Papineau with him there in that number 17 car. Papineau's going to bail on the line.
Now he's got Dalton Mobley on his bumper. Dalton's going to be pushing like heck. And Dalton probably doesn't want to... He's going to be looking for a parking space here, but right now, as we can look around Dalton, there ain't no room at the inn. He's going to have to stay here with Chris on the high side. That's not helpful. That's not helpful, iRacing. Thank you. Oh, nope. iRacing deciding it wants to be difficult. As we see Dalton here. Oh, he's got the run. He's got to stick with Chris. There's the hit into the tri-oval. There's the other hit into the tri-oval. Come on. Out of the tri-oval, down into turn 1. Chris now being scored in 4th position. Now you can bet your boots that Chris is going to bring Dalton with him. Chris isn't just going to abandon him once they get up there to the front, but he has got to drive the wheels off of that Monster Energy Toyota Camry.
2 by 2 down the back straightaway. Dalton Moby sticking with Chris Claud there.
Now Chris has an opportunity here. Chris has an opportunity here if he wants to. The window's closing. The window's closed.
Oh, almost had a moment. I think Chris, like you said, is going to stay on his mark. He's pretty true to the high line right now. He's making it work. As Dalton Moby's definitely got help there on the outside.
I'll tell you what, so many times, and maybe this is why I'm not a driver anymore, but so many times I've seen the opportunity for Chris to get down there into the low line, as he's perfectly content right now riding the high side as he's being shoved down the backstretch by Dalton Mobley now. Wow, what a push off of Mobley's nose.
And I would have bailed on that outside line. Whoa, there we almost had a moment again with Claud in that number 78 car of Michael Witt almost coming together there. And a little bit of side draft action here at Daytona. And that outside line is falling backwards.
Chris could stay down lower in the tri-oval, as he's now getting a shove, not from Mobley, but the 14 of Matt DiCiani. Mobley just jumped in front of Tanner Marty in the 29.
Mobley bailing on the outside line now, as we are back on board with the 14 car there. And
oh, for crying out loud. This is not the time for connection issues, iRacing.
Dick Connie back there, up 20th position and P8 right now, pushing the number 10. And ladies and gentlemen, good luck finding a parking spot in Philly. This is clogged up like a side street in Philly right now, waiting for the parking enforcement to come around there.
As they're gonna go. Oh, contact! These connection issues from iRacing are giving me a headache. There's no reason for this. And Pistons Rod and Dad Bods. Why are we talking about tube steaks? Because we can. My microphone, and I'll do what I want. Welcome to Sunday Night NASCAR.
Whoa, we got contact.
Sideways goes. There goes the 8 car of Gangler. We stay green. We stay green. They stay forward.
That Milwaukee
Gangler was melting through the stands. Oh, and got taken out by Ken Ron. Let's see what happened with Ron here. As Ken Ron got shoved out of the way and into Alexander.
Okay.
50 laps to go. What?
The 8 car, his roof flew backwards, and I imagine it'd be pretty hard
Jonathan
to see.
Leach is listening in. Yes, yes, I will. Come on in.
Come on in.
Chris Claud kind of up here in the salable as they're 3 wide behind him with the 76 in the middle. Shooting down the backstretch, 8th position now for Claude as he finally gets down into the low line. He sees the mess behind him, and there they go.
Calamity corner. We're not even in a corner, we're on a straightaway.
We stay green. They got down onto the apron fast enough. 3 wide now is, whoa, there they go the rest of the way.
We almost had a Waffle House there.
I'm a big dude. I could have a heart attack at any second. Watch the 19 here as they're 3 wide, 2 rows, and they just clean their clock. Yeesh.
Jonathan Leach checking in the chat saying I've called more than 875 miles of racing today.
That's accurate. You are the Sim Racing Media Iron Man. Only one other person in Sim Racing Media history has called that many miles of racing in one day, and he is right here in the form of a teddy bear on my desk. Jonathan Leach has the matching teddy bear.
Got to put in work.
No, it was a very, very special gift in the loss of Tony, and I need it. I need it just about every day.
What a tribute, though.
Oh, it's fantastic. Very simple, and I like simple.
Yes.
So here with about 47 laps to go, we're going to get reset once again. Sean Rogers, Patrick Gator, Sieber Cornez, Michael Witt, and Dalton Mobley, your top 5. Mobley running in 5th where he had qualified. Tanner, Marty, Matt DiCiani, Kavaja Holt, Chris Claud, and Channing Ballou make up your top 10. So Channing Ballou fighting back, the native out of Pensacola, Florida here, driving the Kellogg's Corn Flakes machine. The old Terry Labonte paint scheme, I'm liking it.
I love it. I love Terry Labonte. That going back to, I believe it's 1996.
And to Pistons rods and dad bods. Yeah, Ron Fitting just had the save of the day. In which case, we are looking for a closer for the Phillies this season as they let Craig Kimbrell go. So, Ron Fitting, if you can make saves like that for about 160 games, that'd be great.
Now, I did talk to Frank the other night. As you mentioned, you're going out to Southern California here in a few weeks.
Yep.
And he told me that he goes, Dave is going to have a fun time, but as a Phillies fan, he's going to be inundated with Mets stuff.
It's fine. Look, here's the thing. I've gone through, you have to understand, I went through the advent of the Nationals when they came into the league, and the Nationals were so happy to see people in their stadium. They were all but giving tickets away. A buddy of mine went down to a couple of games at Nationals Park together just because they couldn't give seats away in Southeast Washington. And, then they got good. The Mets, right now, they're kind of crappy, let's be honest. So, at this point, they don't even bother me. Oh, look, you're a Mets fan. That's a shame. Sorry for your luck. I was at a Phillies-Mets game last year, and it was just one of those things where I was sitting amongst Mets fans, and I didn't even feel like poking fun at them because it's bad enough to be a Mets fan right now.
Well, I will say this about the Mets. They kicked the crap out of the Cardinals a couple of times last year. But
I haven't even gotten a chance to say it yet this year, but muck the Fets.
Oh, Dave. Maybe we'll have to find a Philly Cardinals game to go to and can take jabs at each other at a Cardinals
if
baseball
you
game.
insist.
Hey, you said you didn't want a hot dog.
Not going. I will go to St. Louis and I will have a hot dog in St. Louis, but I will not drink your beer. Keep it.
I don't even think I drink
Here in the rolling hills of Pennsylvania, we celebrate the Yuengling Brewery. Of course, America's oldest brewery, opened in 1829 by D.G. Yuengling and Son. And, of course, when you say America's oldest brewery, it's because it's the oldest operating, continually operating brewery in the United States. Even during Prohibition. During Prohibition, they made ice cream.
Nice.
And quietly beer, but mostly ice cream.
The beer was alleged during Prohibition.
Allegedly.
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 Allegedly. All right. Anyways, we're coming. I'm having. Anyways, we're coming back to green. We want to go. We're getting stacked up here, 2x2 behind the iRacing.com pace car, and Patrick Gitter is up 34 positions right now as we speak. As we are on lap 155. We come back to green, Dave. We're going to be approaching lap 145 to go. So we're going to be actually approaching here. So, right now, Dave, if I'm sitting, which I am sitting in my rig, and right now my legs are getting cramped up. If I'm driving, my legs are getting cramped up right about now as we get ready to go. So these guys are really have to dig down deep and find that extra bit of willpower to get these machines to the end of the race.
Absolutely. And up 34 positions from where he had started back in 35th. Patrick Gitter going to lead us back to the green flag here. He'll be joined on the front row by Sean Rogers, who started on the outside of the front row. So he'll restart where he started as the iRacing.com pace car brings us out of turn number 4. The sun's starting to set here to the west of Daytona International Speedway. Here in the World Center of Racing, Dave Riegel and Alan Burgan with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. We're glad that you've made us a part of your evening. We thank you for joining us here on YouTube.com. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications. As we go back green flag racing, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
Back here at Daytona International Speedway, just as we, once again, the Preen Lawn Care commercial seems to have jinxed us here. Tyler Sexton getting involved in this one, shot down to the infield, collects Gaskins and the 28 of Brian Tarnowski and the 9 of Jeff Carson. Ay, that's not going to make anybody happy.
You know, Dave, I'm glad I got you in my headset and how to any of these drivers right now.
Yeah, there are some angry drivers. Very angry. As we're going to go one more time here. See if we can't break this one down for you. Because it's a good one. Here he comes back. Oh! Yeah, that's enough to make you nauseous.
Yeah.
Looks like netcode. Looks like
I don't
netcode
think-
may have been the culprit there.
I don't think it was anybody's fault. Maybe a connection issue?
Quite possibly so. Well, we're going to continue our break over here as everybody gets themselves racked back up. So we will be right back once again here on Sim Racing Media.
My name is Leon Kyles. I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I have 2 adult children, 134, 125, and a wife. And I'm glad to be here today. When I got the initial news of my prostate cancer, it was devastating because I got a phone call from my doctor late in the evening, and I was wondering why he was calling, so I put it on speakerphone, and me and my wife was sitting there watching the movie, and he just came straight out and said, "You got cancer." You know, the first thing that went through my mind was, man, am I gonna make it? So I had a lot of different thoughts going through my mind. You know, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to survive, you know, what was gonna happen with my wife, my kids, and, you know, I felt hurt, a lot of pain. Through 211, actually. They gave me the number to Trisha Hope, and which was a great thing because Trisha Hope has been very helpful throughout my process of going through my cancer, going through my surgery. Now it's in remission. I don't have it anymore, no diagnosis. And she really helped me with some bills and stuff like that with a grant that I appreciate very much. She helped me out, also gave me some referrals to some agencies that could help me out in my city in Anderson. We had at least, you know, probably over the last few months, at least about 6 or 7 conversations where, you know, she would always have an encouraging word to say, always, you know, telling me to be thankful, you know, and just live your life to the fullest, and them the things I've been doing. Anybody that may be experiencing cancer in any shape, form, or fashion, trust God. You have to be patient. You have to make go to your doctor's appointments, and then just, you know, live your life to the full extent. Enjoy yourself, and just keep moving forward because God is there for you. This program is to help cancer patients, and, you know, the donations would be gratefully appreciated because they go through a lot of things and they have a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of bills, things that, you know, they can't take care of anymore because of the job situation, leave of absences. Some people never go back to work. Some people are going through chemo and they need a helping hand. So if you could donate anything to help the Trisha Hope Foundation, it would be greatly appreciated.
can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second spot, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
No back into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh my
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Apromitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series. Dave Riegel and Alan Burgan with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. I want to thank you for making us a part of your evening as we are working lap 167 of 200 here in the final stage of the Daytona 500. Take a look right here at the 99. That's Nick Hansen working just over top of Kavaja Holt, the only driver not single file right now. And Alan, we've watched a lot of really good racing tonight. We've watched a lot of these guys go from single file to double file and back without any issues. And then, of course, we've watched things break out that we didn't expect. What are you thinking as we get deeper here with about 34 to go?
34 to go. It's almost go time. Not just yet, but you're starting to think about it. Starting to think who around me is going to help me, who's going to benefit me the most. And then after that, I'm going to be real honest with you, Dave. I would recommend Grandma to win this race right now.
Seems fair. That seems fair. I'm with it.
Everybody wants to win Daytona.
Conway's Irish Ale number 99 drifting back through the field. He's going to have to tuck in right behind the 23 as the 23 going to be the last in line here. Kavaja Holt here holding on for dear life as he's being passed by Ron Fitting for 9th position. Ron Fitting leading this charge. Of course, the Pistons rods and dad bods cheering him on. calling him the GOAT from that save earlier, and that save seems to be paying off right now as he leads the 24 of Richard Pruitt. And wow, that's dangerous there. As the 29 of Tanner Marty still here on the high side with Dalton Mobley and Seba Cornez in tow. Patrick Gitter, though, your race leader. Alan, we're getting down here into the twilight of the race, and of course, the sun setting to the west, going to cool off this racetrack. Take a look here at our conditions. 73 degrees the track temperature, all kinds of grip in it.
Yeah, I mean, this track's got a whole lot of grip, you know. It's compared to when the sun's baking down on it all day. But right now, as we get into the end stages of this race, is you're going to have to deal with the sun in your eyes as you come down the back straightaway and onto the tri-oval. And I don't know about you, Dave, but there are no visors in these race cars, as you only got your helmet, which, you know, at the beginning of the race, I hope you put a sun visor on, but nonetheless, you know, that sun gets pretty blinding as we got, you know, Kenny Blue pushing the number 14 of Matt DeConnie. And, you know, again, you know, the lights, I imagine the lights will come on here in about, you know, 31 laps, right towards the end. So we're getting set up for a barn burner.
We are, and we see Channing Ballou here pushing the 14 along. These three drivers are linked up like crazy right now. It's incredible to watch as we take a look here at that top three. Gitter, DiCiani, and Ballou. Alex Princeton lurking in fourth, and I'll tell you what, Alex Princeton, you can never count him out in these races. You know, even though that he sits in fourth now, believe me, you notice how he's leaving just enough distance here between himself and the 5. If he can get Zasiak to work with him, of course, Zasiak out of the Joe Gibbs Racing stable, if he can get Zasiak to come with him when the time is right, those drivers can wind up making some hay here and take a run at the win. Now, with about 27, 28 laps to go now, 28, you know, we've still got one more pit stop that has to be made. So the question becomes, how long do you stay out and what do you stay out for? We'll take a look here at our pit strategy. And you can see that this almost looks like a patchwork quilt. Everybody on some kind of different stuff, if you will. You know, right now, Gitter is our biggest mover of the night here in the top 5, up 34 positions after coming from 35th. So he's not going, you're basically going to have to wrestle that from his cold, dead hands is what he's saying. You know, meanwhile, you've got DiCiani, who's up 26, feeling the same way. You know, some of these drivers like, you know, Witt and Rogers and Jet, they've spent most of their evening up top. Hodgson coming from 18th, another big mover. Those drivers, they've put the work in, and they don't intend to give this up very easily.
No, as we're coming down to work lap 173 here, as you see Patrick Gitter there, he's not going to give up that lead pretty easily. Something spectacular is going to happen for him to give that lead up, as he has fought so hard to get up to the front and stay there. And, you know, like you said, we still got the two distinctive lines of cars, and I feel like a caution could change that any time.
It can, and, you know, you can see the lap times here for the top 4. They're all separated by about 200th of a second. And, you know, not necessarily climbing, not necessarily, you know, shortening. They're staying very consistent. And consistency is what's going to get you here to the end of this race. You know, you can see here at the bottom of your screen, lap 173, DiCiani was about 4,000th of a second slower than Gitter, even though that they basically ran the same lap time. Now they run a 45.49 together. Channing Ballou at a 45.50. Princeton running the same lap time that Gitter and DiCiani are running. So, you know, this top 4 is going to be where the battle really, you know, breaks out here. And, you know, this whole front group here of about 7 cars, you know, this is where we're going to see basically who the men are men and the goats are scared of.
25 to go. 25 to go. You know, it's been a long day, for sure. as these guys are
for you, sir. I mean, my God, John was not wrong when he noted your attendance here today in the broadcast booth. This is your second Daytona 500 of the day. That's 1,000 miles of racing.
Hey, look, it's still worse than doing the Indy 600 double, right? Not a lot of drivers can achieve that, but
it's accurate.
What else do I got going on?
Well, hopefully something, but Channing Ballou just 1,000th of a second off of the race leaders, and we can see that right here. As we're going to go back to DiCiani and watch Ballou. He was actually 1,000th of a second off. As we can see him, my goodness, just picking him up and landing him down. And that time, Ballou was faster by 4,000th of a second. So we're watching Channing Ballou just get warmed up, and he's a driver that we're going to be talking about a lot this season, talking about and with, as basically there's only about 0.4 of a second back through this top 6, half a second through the top 7.
Jonathan Leach checking in the. We're gonna break the fourth wall. Jonathan Leach is checking in the YouTube chat and says, "I don't know, maybe a like."
I mean, to be fair, he's not wrong. That's why he's the man with the plan. But here's the deal. A lot of us love doing what we do here on Sim Racing Media. I know that SRM has been there through thick and thin in my life, and I'll be thick and thin through our job here as we watch Seba Cornez being pushed around here by Nolan Hodgson in the 12. At this point, they would be able to make a lot more ground up if the 24 was able to get in line and Conga with them. That's Richard Pruitt in the 24. If he could stay hooked up to the rear of the 12, they could pull away from Eric Papineau here in the 17. Now, the 17 is an interesting paint scheme. We'll take a look at this real quick. The 17 almost looks like he's got a Lightning McQueen paint scheme going on here with the Meineke twist.
I love Lightning McQueen. I actually saw the movie when it came out in theaters. Great movie. One of the best Disney Pixar movies by far. And they put out a lot of great movies. As Chris Claud gets a little early back there, about 2 cars back from Eric Papineau. So, I think it's cool when drivers do fun paints like that for the kids. And we actually have a driver here. He drives a dirt super late model. And he's always got a wrap. It's got like Batman on it, like Superman. Like one year he does like DC comics. The next year he does like Pac-Man. And they ask him, why do these paint schemes? He goes, you know what? The kids are actually the future of the sport.
Jonathan Leach saying, granted, he doesn't have a life either. Quite frankly, all of us have lives, and behind every great person on iRacing is a woman standing there with her arms across her chest, shaking her head in disapproval. Because believe you me, I've been there, done that, and gotten the free T-shirt.
Well, my wife is a saint. One of these days, Dave, we're gonna get her on and let her jab her.
That's like she will just put that right at the top of her schedule there, let me tell you. 20 to go now with the 20 leading, followed by Matt DiCiani and Channing Ballou. These 3 drivers, we're still going to see whether or not anybody behind them can get wound up here through this top 8, as there's an 8-car breakaway here with then 11.5 seconds back to Seba Cornez from Rich Jett's rear bumper. So right now, any of these top 8 drivers can make a run for the win, but still, as we're waiting for it, many of these drivers still have to come down pit road. I mean, they last were down on lap 160. They've got 20 under their belt, so probably with about 10 to go, we're going to have to see another round of pit stops.
Yeah, unless you're one of these guys that, are kind of doing a quick math problem in your head as you're riding around here. I can smell the calculator burning over on the East Coast. as they would tell Larry Mack, right?
Yes, sir.
A lot of these guys could probably try to push it to less than laps and take a gamble, put it all on red, and see what happens as the roulette wheel spins.
Sean Rogers here in the 44 now, separating himself from Rich Jet as they got around some lap cars here on the low side. Rich Jet now falling out of that lead draft. That leaves just 7 cars here. Sean Rogers not willing to take that chance as he now sucks up right to the rear of the 78 of Michael Witt in that Lipton T machine. Zosiak at the same time here in the Town and Country Landscape Management LLC 36, holding on for dear life. This whole top 8 is all Chevys. They are Chevy heavy here at the top. Then we automatically, it seems like we just immediately dump to a Toyota and a Ford in the form of Seba Cornez and Nolan Hodgson, as Hodgson is beating the brakes off of the rear bumper here of Cornez.
I got a feeling that the perfect storm's brewing. You know, when I feel like we're not done with these cautions. I feel like we're going to have very late cautions. It's going too good to not have another one.
Jason Bell asking, 20 to go, will it stay green? I'll tell you what, Jason, probably not. Let's be real. Something goofy is going to happen here in the next 17 laps. And when I say goofy, I mean stuff that we're going to have to look at 14 times from 37 different angles. Trust me. Somebody's going to get real itchy real fast.
I think it's going to come out of this lead group, too. That's where it's going to get itchy. I think if you're the 77 car of Rich Jet, back here in 8th in that second group, you're probably safe.
Well, Rich Jet currently has a great drafting partner in the form of Jeff Carson out of Cross Junction, Virginia. But unfortunately, Jeff down laps. Right now, Ricky Williams would be your lucky dog if the caution flew. But if the caution flies now, the person who I want behind me at the green flag restart is absolutely Channing Ballou. He has not come off of his line, and he's one of these drivers that I've seen in lower series, in the Xfinity and the Truck Series, who consistently, week after week last year, surprised the heck out of me as he was able to bring home several checkered flags, and now he's here in the Cup Series ready to show everybody his tailpipe as we get deeper into this race with 15 to go.
15 laps to go, like you said. And the top 3 cars have not budged off of their bumpers at all. This is a 200 mile an hour traffic jam, as these guys have been very strong in the draft all night long, all day long here in Daytona. This right here, this top line, this top group right here, Patrick Gitter started 34 positions back. He's up 34 positions.
Don't count on anybody. Wow, I couldn't get my mouth to match my brain. Don't count out anybody back here in the second group either. I mean, led by Seba Cornez. From 9th back through 15th, from Seba Cornez, Nolan Hodgson, Richard Pruitt, Eric Papineau, Nick Hansen, Chris Claud, and Tanner Marty, and Dalton Mobley rounding out that second group. I mean, these drivers, anybody can make it happen here with 14 to go. There's still a lot of race left. It's one of those times where it's kind of like the 2-minute warning in football. You think, it's just 2 minutes left, but that 2 minutes somehow takes 20 on TV, and we're the same way here in NASCAR. When you've got 15, 14, 13 to go, that's the 2-minute warning, and it can take forever, especially if you're driving.
Yeah, Dalton Mobley, he's got to be thinking about the Hail Marys he's going to have to come up with here. And, when do you sacrifice the win over fuel? I mean, that's the question I always ask myself at the staging of these races here is, do you you bite the bullet and come in now, or do you hope that by the grace of God something goofy is going to happen and we're going to see a late race caution?
Well, if I was a betting man, and I could be, Zasiak came in on 153. He's going to have to come in first. Everybody else on lap 160. So you've got about 28 laps on the car. There's no way anybody can make it from here. And to your point, yeah, it's going to be a matter of who do you come in with. And, does anybody want to come in with Zasiak? If I was him, I'd get a hold of my teammate, Chris Claud, and say, come in now and try to come back out, together. At that point, that's the teammate link up that I'm watching here, as Zasiak is, has the longest amount of time on those tires. In fact, we'll see if we can pull that up here.
I mean, if anything, while you're pulling that up, if anything, it's at least going to be a gas and go. Get me to the end.
Laps on Zasiak, so he is right there. And at this point, he's playing with fire. If he runs out of fuel, he and the 78 are going to meet, and it's probably going to be out back of the woodshed for a beating.
Right, you are. That's there.
Just waiting to see who's going to flinch. I can't believe he's not down already. If I was him, I'd be on race radio talking to my teammate Chris Claud, saying, hey, Chris, I got to come down here. If we want to run here at the end, it's got to be the two of us. Chris Claud last coming down on 160, so he's got 7 laps more fuel in the 10 than does his teammate Kevin Zasiak in the 36 out of Greenwich, Connecticut.
Robert checking on the YouTube chat saying they can make it on fuel from one. Maybe
it's going to be close.
I think if they get a caution or they go in overtime, I'm concerned. But I mean, with 11 laps to go, till 10 now, I don't know, man. I'm putting it all on black and see what happens. Whatever happens, happens, right?
Well, according to Robert, they can make it on fuel from 160. Fine, be that way. I'm just saying for me, it's a little bit too close for comfort.
That's why we're up here and they're down there, right?
That's fair. It's a lot less stress up here.
Oh, yeah. And, like I said earlier, I mean, you're digging deep to find that extra willpower. I mean, 500 miles is a long time to be behind the wheel of anything, much less your passenger car. But think about it like this: 500 miles, no bathroom breaks, no drink break.
Oh, you can take a bathroom break. It's just not going to end well.
I imagine you're going to be in a doghouse if you try to take a bathroom break.
Or on a doggy pad. 8 to go now. Matt DiCianni's starting to peek around here. DiCianni's getting itchy. He wants to know if he's got that strength to try to get around Gitter, who's up 34 positions. And believe you me, as soon as DiCianni flinches to make that move to the high side, Gitter's going to throw it up there. Something tells me, and this is just watching from above, that Gitter's going to, if DiCianni makes the move to go to the high side, Gitter's going to try to go up there, throw the block. While DiCianni has a run, they're going to wind up wrecking themselves and the 6 cars behind them. So, still a little too soon, but DiCianni was just kind of testing the water. Problem is, he doesn't walk on the water. Here he goes. Watch him go. Oh, he sneaks back in there.
Get DiCianni some Dasani water, and he's about to put the case of water on a fork to prove to Dave he can walk on it. Because we are coming down to 7 to go. 7 to go here in the Daytona 500 here on the Stacy Strong, Cup Series. And DeConnie trying to take a peek, but I'm gonna go the other way. I think if DeConnie pulls out, of line, Channing Blue is going to sneak right up there and get behind the 20 car of Patrick Gitter.
Well, I'm watching what's going on here, and I smell disaster.
Oh, I'm right there with you.
5 laps to go here at the line.
I really think if you're in that 8th position, even 7th, if you're Sean Roberts or even Ken Ron, I think you're in decent shape because we're about to have a calamity.
Patrick Gitter. Oh, they're testing it. The 14 and the 88 are testing. They know they can do it now. Matt DiCianni may pull off the surprise win here as they're lurking just behind Gitter. If DiCianni and Ballou can swing high together, they're going to abandon DiCianni. 4 to go. I'm sitting here trying to be a forecaster, and it's still anybody's race here in this top 8.
We forecasting this race is almost as bad as forecasting the weather here in St. Louis. If you don't like the weather here in St. Louis, wait 5 minutes. It'll change. Just like this race, as the Connie thought about it there for a minute. Here comes Channing. He's thinking about it for a minute. Does it happen right now? I think it's still too soon.
Still too soon, but they're testing the water out. They're trying to see who it's going to be. Let's ride along with Channing Ballou here.
I still feel like anything's going to happen.
It's Team Conti pushing around Patrick Gitter. Gitter knows he's a sitting duck. There's no way he doesn't. If he doesn't, then he needs to get out of the car. But Gitter knows that he's a sitting duck.
I don't know. I just feel like that 14 car is going to pull out, and that Channing's going to get right in there behind Gitter. There's a wiggle. Here we go. Patrick Gitter.
My goodness, what a great finish to that. Patrick Gitter coming across the start-finish line first and bringing home the checkered flag, joined by Matt DiCianni and Channing Ballou. Here in opening weekend of the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series, Channing already going down pit road. My goodness.
Have you ever?
As it appears that there was a hiccup there the last 2 laps. That's fantastic. So there was no audio there. It is what it is. What a great finish to this race. This was almost better than what I assume the real life race is going to be tomorrow. Let's see if we can get a hold of Patrick. Hey, Patrick, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
10-4, gotcha.
Man, listen, what a great finish here to the Daytona 500 for you and the 20 team. The Team Conti Chevrolet Camaro coming across the start-finish line. Take us through this piece and how you got here.
Man, teamwork. I can't say enough about teamwork. The guys here that I race with Team Conti Sim Performance, man, it could have been any one of us up here. So huge shout out to Matt, Derek, Randy, and those guys. You know, Sean Rogers was with us in line for a while there in that race. So can't say enough, man. Just great teamwork, great communication. That's what made it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having Matt behind you and Channing below, I mean, if there was anybody on the racetrack that I would want, it would be those two tonight, especially as tight as you guys are running here toward the end. Now, you've already, I know it's early in the season, but you've already punched that playoff ticket. Does this take that pressure off of you now?
I think a little bit. I think in later races it'll kind of sway a decision on, where do you do a conservative fuel strat versus something aggressive. So I think that's helpful. But each race we'll just take one at a time and see how it plays out. I know there's a lot we got to learn with the league and getting familiar with the guys that we're running with here. So looking forward to that too.
Yeah, it's going to be a long season. I know that we've got a full season ahead of us. So being able to get that under your belt is fantastic. So before we cut you loose tonight, who do you need to thank for this run?
First off, Matt. I mean, couldn't have done it without him. He pushed me to the win. We've been teammates for a long time, and I would have done the same for him if he was in the same. And if the roles were flipped. So same for Derek and Randy. Those guys are great. Shout out to Team Conti Sim Performance for the wicked set this week. We've been great all week. Shout out to Martin PC, C12 Design Shop, and appreciate you guys up in the booth for calling the race.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations, and we will see you next week as we move further on in the season here and get underway.
Yeah, 10-4. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, that the voice of Patrick Gitter, your 2024 Stacy Strong Cup Series Daytona 500 winner, as he rests here on the front stretch. We want to thank him for that excellent finish tonight. Moving right along, though, the man, the myth, the legend, Matt DiCiani. Hey, Matt, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, man, listen, a strong finish here for the 14. You didn't have enough to try to get around Patrick, but, take us through these last few laps and tell us how you wound up, not being able to make that pass.
Honestly, I wasn't trying to. Patrick's my teammate, so we kind of just had a plan, just control the runs behind us and just get him across the line first here. I was damaged from a wreck earlier on some stupid netcode that's been happening this week, so I couldn't lead. So I thought that was our best chance to get us our team a win.
Yeah, netcode was a major factor in tonight's race. Connection issues, at least from here in the broadcast booth, that tells me that netcode is running amok all over the track. It was an interesting night, but you still finished second, so you wind up getting yourself, settled in there.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, the netcode is ridiculous. We lost Derek earlier and just ejected him. I don't know. It sucks because he would have been there right with us too. So, but it's part of the game. We all had to deal with it. So we just happened to manage it and get the win.
All right, man. Well, listen, before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank for tonight's run?
Yeah, shout out to my teammates Patrick, Derek, and Randy, Team Conti, for our awesome setup we've had this week. And yeah, thanks to you guys for calling the race.
All right, man. And last but certainly not least, we're going to turn the page right here. Bear with us.
Oh, yeah.
As we turn the page right here to Pensacola's very own Channing Blue. Hey, Channing, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Dave. Long time no see, buddy.
I know, but listen, here it is, week 1, and we're already chatting. How are you feeling tonight after this finish?
Well, I don't know if y'all watched, but the 88 was battling, 2 laps down, 1 lap down all night, and had a bunch of problems trying to get my lucky dog. And overall, it was a struggle. I didn't really get to find the front there till the end, and that his team Conti Chevrolet was fast enough to stay up front. So, got to thank everybody over there. They built a hell of a setup this week, and congratulations to Patrick and Matt for finishing 1-2. I couldn't have done anything. I know everybody was hoping I was going to jump out of line, but I didn't have the steam that I needed. I had a pretty beat up car.
Yeah, I started to turn into a little bit of a fanboy myself up here in the booth. I mean, you get used to seeing so many of the same names, and you get used to getting to know you guys down on the track. So when I start to see, like, you're moving up through the field, I'm thinking, oh man, here it comes. He comes out of Xfinity and comes right away to dominating the Cup Series, and just that close. But it's still early in the season. It's a long year. So what are you looking forward to most this season here in the Cup Series?
Well, this is a pretty new car for me. I'm not the greatest at it, so getting a P3 early on is a great points night for us. And overall, these next 3 races are all kind of the same. They're all very super speedway-esque. Atlanta's kind of the same boat, so we'll kind of see what speed we have there and see where we stack up. But we got to keep our nose cleaner. One, we can't miss gridding. That really hurt. That put us behind the 8 ball from the get-go. So hopefully we can qualify better and start up front and try to stay up front. The motto. But Dave, I couldn't have let this 88 run in the back all night. You'd have been let down.
I definitely would have been. Trust me, I was sitting there and I was watching you, starting all the way back in 26. I'm like, well, he's got some traffic to drive through, but you are just a master of avoiding staying away from the BS, and tonight you proved that once again. So congratulations to you for finishing here on the podium. And before we cut you loose, you know the drill. Who do you need to thank for tonight?
Like I said, I got to thank everybody over at Team Conti. Man, they built a really fast race car, even with the damage I had. It was able to drive up through there and make pushes and keep guys, out front. And we were able to, I was kind of able to go and draft how I wanted to. So overall, I can't be, more proud of them. They put a rocket ship underneath me. And then I got to thank kind of a new team developing over here, MPG Racing. Those guys, they all kept me level-headed, even though when the race didn't look like it was going to go my way at all. And just to come out of here with a P3 at Daytona with a semi-clean car is always a plus.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations. We'll see you next week, and welcome to the Cup Series. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, man. Hey, we're chasing a championship in all 3, so be ready, Dave. Hopefully I'll talk to you some more.
All right, brother. Well, this puts the first one in the books for the 2024 Stacy Strong Cup Series. Alan, what did you think of your first race here with me?
Oh man, this is exciting. If this is how this season's gonna go, I can't wait till we hit the other 35 stops along the way.
Well, hopefully it does go this well, the rest of the way here as we get ready to rock and roll on the 2024 season. Finally getting our Super Bowl in the books. Let's take one final look here at the final results as Patrick Gitter captures the checkered flag in the Harley J. Earl Trophy right here at Daytona International Speedway. He's joined on the podium by Matt DiCiani and Channing Ballou. Alex Princeton comes home in 4th position while Kevin Zasiak rounds out your top 5. Michael Witt finishes in 6th with Sean Rogers, Seba Cornez, and Nolan Hodgson 7, 8, and 9, while Rich Jett makes up the rest of your top 10. Nick Hansen finishes in 11th with Richard Pruitt, Tanner Marty, Dalton Mobley, and Ken Ron out of Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, finishing in 15th. Mike McConville from Cape May, New Jersey, finishes in 16th, while Fairview, Tennessee's very own Chris Claud finishes 17th. Eric Papineau brings home 18th, while Kavaja Holt and Ricky Williams round out your top 20. Randy Belk finishes 21st with Chad Sanner and Ron Fitting in tow, followed by Alexander Gangler, our former race controller extraordinaire, bringing the 8 car home in 24th. Matt Gaskins has the 79 car finishing in 25th, while Brian Tarnowski finishes in 26th. Jeff Carson and Tyler Sexton finish in 27th and 28th, while Skip Gandy brings home 29th with Steve Herring in 30th. Derek Heitman and Timothy Cook bring home 31st and 32nd, while Mark Johnston, Sean Kelly, Chris Davis, Matt Mettler, Ryan Samuelson, Hank Caston, Bobby Anderson, and Randall Watkins make up your top 40. And Carl Dodson, Joe Stafford, and Anthony Savignano did not take the start this evening, so unfortunately for them, they won't be awarded, anything, quite frankly. So it's been a night here, that's for sure. At Daytona International Speedway, we're glad to have everybody with us tonight. Thank you for making Alan and I and everybody here at Sim Racing Media part of your evening. And don't look now, but this is only the beginning of the 2024 campaign. And tomorrow night, more of the same as the Xfinity Series here in the S&N Family of Racing Series will get underway with myself and Liam Ervig at the microphone and the ones and twos and everything in between for you. Same place at Daytona International Speedway. So I'm Dave Riegel. He is Alan Burgan, and this was a production of Sim Racing Media. Thank you.